Welcome in everyone to One Piece chapter 1058. We have the legendary Par Vision here to join us in this breakdown discussion video. Par, you want to break down who you are and what you do on here on YouTube?
That was a fancy segue.
Was
Did
it?
you prepare? Do you want to? We're gonna break down the chapter. Par, do you want to break down who you are? That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Dang, the Psy charm does not fade when in the wee hours of the night.
You have the theories, I have the intros. It's an equal trade-off.
I'm gonna need your help for the intros. But all right, so if you guys know or don't know who I am, I'm Par Vision. I have a theory channel on my YouTube. I'll be posting more videos in the coming month. If you guys haven't seen me, then that means you haven't been watching One Piece, because I've been on so many channels for the pure reason of seeing as many eyes as possible, and that's what I value the most, and having conversations. And so we just came off of the knock-up stream on my channel, the live stream where I do my live reaction, and because of the way TCB scheduled the things now, it's at night, and I'm now a night owl, and Sai's the biggest night owl I know, so this is just like a match made in heaven. We had so many innuendos on my stream, but we're gonna clean that up for this.
We're gonna clean it up. This is gonna be PG-13. No more knock-up Par Vision. No more creamy, milky Charlotte Opera Road. This is no more Pillow Talk Par, which he has the merch right there. If you don't know, Par has his own Amazon store, so check it out. It's in his YouTube channel. I will link it down below as well. Feel free to pick up one of those pillows while you're watching this stream, or I guess video. But yes, we are here today to talk about One Piece chapter 1058. It is the latest one that just came out, and it's a big one. I would argue to say it's 10 times better than the last chapter. I don't think anybody's gonna fight me on that one, and if they do, I'll drop my address. But yeah, we have 1058. It is titled New Emperor. And on the cover page, what do we see here, Par? Well, what is on this cover page?
I mean, we see what I think most of the community felt like we would see, which is that Caesar would be begging that the Vince Smokes take him in like a stray dog almost, and that he's gonna choose the lesser of two evils. And Big Mom side of things, he embezzled funds, who knows what other things that he did to get his like factory up and running. So I would definitely choose the Germa side of things. And maybe who knows, maybe Judge and Caesar, have they ever had dialogue between, like, has
I don't
Caesar
think
ever
so.
So
they haven't really interacted too much.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, Caesar's human experimentation, and Judge has no qualms with that either. So maybe they're good buddies. Maybe they collab. And that's another thing that people were thinking, that we would get like gigantified super soldiers by the end of this, right? So
that would be insane. He just like, hey, he just starts making like actual super soldiers that are giants. I mean, like you said, it is better that Caesar goes with the Germa siblings than stay in Whole Cake. Yeah. Because when he was here with the Big Mom Pirates, he was locked in a tower like Rapunzel. Like, he couldn't get out.
Yeah, and they
were using him for his brain.
It was kind of like Breaking Bad almost. They were just like, he's just like, here's the state of our like facility. Do everything. And he's like, I don't have this. And they're like, here. And then he's like, damn it, I need to leave. You know what I mean? Low key like that.
It's interesting when you look at this here, because I was watching your stream, so like shout out to Para's stream. He mentioned that Caesar has a Logia of the the gas fruit, and last we saw of Katakuri, he was like throwing his awakened fists left and right. So technically, a fist or two should land in this smoke. I'm surprised he's not like being hit by Katakuri on the back end. So this must mean that Katakuri is on the opposite side of Caesar, maybe covering his breath or like, backing up a little bit, because it is a poisonous gas bomb. We saw that from last chapter. And, he's kind of hitting some friendly fire here, because we see Ichiji and Reiju also covering their mouths like, oh, dang, I can't breathe this in.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, because you would think that as cyborgs,
it
genetically modified, Judge kind of flopped on the breathing aspect. They should have like not Brita filters, air purifiers in there. Maybe they have Brita filters built in, but like
they should be like fishmen. They can go underwater, like not have to breathe or anything.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of being a cyborg if you can't go into space, right? Like, I mean, then what? It's kind of weird.
Like, what can they do? Be fodder a little bit better?
Like, are we gonna get it? Oh God! I mean, we said this is gonna be PG-13, but Reiju has to. If this is poison, then she's gonna have to fix up her brother somehow, right? How does that work?
She's gonna have to suck it up. She starts sucking like Caesar's poison gas out of everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I mean, if they are like, look at Niji, he's getting no diff by this air,
dude.
Like,
Niji is actually like clutching his chest. Like, yeah. So memes aside, like poison aside, dude, Katakuri was gonna end his life. Like, dude, these guys are like barely holding on.
Imagine being saved by Caesar and still being, you know, some people in the community think the Vince Smoke brothers are a threat to be reckoned with. But like, if you're being saved by Caesar, I don't know what that says about you. And dude, and to your point, right? Now that I think about it, Katakuri is probably immobilized to some extent, because if he was unleashing these donut fists, right, then Caesar would be getting clapped on the back. I mean, pause, but like, he would be getting hurt for sure. Like that, and not to derail this, but the reason why I brought this up in my stream is because I was asking essentially, like, you know, we look at like the top corner, like Caesar's a gas fruit, right?
Yeah,
I'm gas man, and clearly there's gas here, and we see in the frame that there's like a gap in the gas. But like, anytime Oda shows us the gas, it's like that is a part of Caesar. It's drawn differently. That is a part of Caesar. So I'd imagine that would be like, if you had armament hockey, you could damage Caesar. You can control him, hold on to him, grapple onto him, whatever. And the reason why I brought that up was one of my viewers pointed out was like, then what are we saying about Green Bull? Green Bull is when we go back to the chapter 1055, I think it was, when the
oh yeah, you're right.
They were slicing him up, and you know, if they're not using hockey, that's weird. We're talking about the scabbard.
Yeah, they have Rio. They have Rio. Come on, it's advanced.
And they know he's a Logia. Like, it's not like they're not, like, they know he's a Marine. They know somewhat of devil fruits, right? Like, Inu and Nekomamashi should know. At least Nekomamashi. Like, if anyone else, Nekomamashi should know, right? And so they're attacking him, and they're taking out his things, and I'm like, wait, if you're using Rio and he's controlling these vines, that should damage him.
That should hurt him.
It's not like Aokiji's ice spear, where he makes a spear and he throws it. That spear is no longer a part of him, right?
Yeah.
He's not controlling that ice.
It's like when Kizaru gets cut and he's like, whoa, like, that's hockey, you know, like back in Marineford. Like, it should affect him to some extent. Like, but to what extent does it actually affect him?
And in those chapters, it felt like nothing was being affected. And so if you go back in my live reaction, I talked about it I didn't talk about it in my analysis because, you know, we got such a short showing of his power, and very clearly there was an agenda behind, you know, he was a guinea pig to show off the Shanks, to play off of the scabbards, to show Luffy's extent. It's a very difficult position, but at the minimum, I would have liked some consistency in that power. And we're at a point now where I think Logias are going to be fleshed out. I think we talked about a little bit off the call, that's like, or at the end of our stream, was like mythical Logias, or what's the next step for Logias? Are they just fodder because of hockey, or are we going to see some next level things? And so, you know, given now that Ryokugu has the Logia for the nature, the wood Logia, I think it is important to understand how Logias work, because when he's throwing out these vines and someone cuts it, he should get punished for being so reckless.
When he like spawns like a sunflower, if you step on it, does that hurt him? Like who knows at this point?
Yeah,
and I feel like it works to Oda's credit. Or I guess it would work better for Oda if he actually never explains it. I feel like this would open such a rabbit hole.
You just want chaos, Sai. But like, but to that point, like, the sunflower on the ground would be the equivalent of, like, you know, a Kainu dripping magma. The dripping magma isn't a Kainu, but like his fist is all magma. If I cut his fist, that should hurt him, right? That's not fair. And that should be like, you know, and not to bring in game logic, but that should be like the punishment of overusing your Logia. In the face of a hockey user, you can't just sprouting out all of your like gas or whatever it is, because you should be afraid of a hockey user punishing you for that, right?
Like
and
Rumble without a CD,
right? And you should be more like focused with your power, right? So that's where my mind went here. So what do you think is going to be next in this cover story? Are they going to leave? What happens here?
So I feel like everything so far with the Germa cover story has been very predictable. And usually Oda isn't predictable, right? We've seen that a lot in the past couple of chapters with, Yamato not joining the crew and etc. So I feel like there has to be a twist at some point. Maybe they don't escape. Maybe they escape by unconventional means, or I don't know. I don't know what it looks like quite yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is too smooth sailing for this cover story.
It's interesting because I like a lot of times, like you're saying, it's predictable, but it's also like, but where do we go from here, right?
Yeah.
I think even in my stream, someone asked, is like, does that mean Crocodile and Mihawk being the silhouettes in the cover story? Because that was some people thought it was Crocodile and Mr. One, for example.
Yeah, I made a video about that.
Yeah, so and then at this point, it's probably not them. It probably wasn't them. But we're gonna talk more about Crocodile and what he was doing later on in the video. But this is a situation where I'm just like, we have Katakuri, we have Oven, we don't know where Cracker is. It seems like all the Vince Smokes are, hurt. One Niji's having a heart attack, and Caesar's begging to get out, and it's like, how do we leave this situation?
And then Yonji's being forgotten by Oda and everybody.
Yeah, exactly. We could leave Yonji behind, right? I think amongst the brothers, amongst the brothers, Yonji was the most disliked probably because he was just annoying and always trying to beat up on Sanji. Yeah. Where Sanji could literally just like look at him and break him. Like I feel like, you know what I mean? Like that's how much stronger Sanji is at this point. Like, this is skipping. This is skipping a little bit, right? But obviously, people know bounties are in this chapter, right? It's not. I mean, you're a spoiler channel.
It's a spoiler. Everybody who watches this channel knows that I spoil. Come on.
Yeah. So okay, Sanji, we get 1 billion bounty. Where do we put Ichiji?
I put Ichiji at maybe like 300-400. Like, there's no way he's anywhere higher than that. Like, and that million. 300 million.
Okay.
But that is like,
you just meant like under Chopper, like 300.
Oh my god, no. 300. I put Ichiji at like 300 to 500 million, and even then, that is just based on strength. That's like not influence or anything else. But yeah, I just feel like that sounds like a high bounty, but at this point of the story, the final saga, I just feel like that's not enough to escape fodderdom at this point, right? Like Ichiji would get no diff by Zoro. Even Sanji would no diff Ichiji. Like, Ichiji is such a throwaway character. He's kind of like a character that you'd see join the Grand Fleet, right? Like, he's strong, but he's not that strong. He's there and he'll make an impact, but he won't make a huge impact.
You bring up an important thing. Do you think, the way the story's going,
100%. I already know what you're going to say, yeah.
All right, so what was I going to say?
You were going to ask if the Germa 66 pirate, I call them pirates, if Germa 66 comes and assists the Straw Hats at the final war.
Like joins the Grand Fleet,
Yes. I think they won't join the Grand Fleet, but I think they'll show up to help Sanji.
Do you guys see that mind rope, by the way? That mind rope, I just opened and then Sai already knew. I already knew. Rope.
Dude, me and Par, I'm not going to lie. So anybody who doesn't watch our streams or anything regularly, if I had to say I had a best friend on the YouTube space, it'd probably be Par.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little bit wholesome. I don't like saying it out loud, but I honestly think Par is like one of my best friends.
I do enjoy spending time with you, Sai. Yeah, that's for sure.
I do too, man. All right, enough wholesomeness. Cut that out.
That's not what this channel's about.
Yeah, we're here to spoil.
But one more wholesome thing.
What's up?
No. Given that you're a spoiler reader and you get the things as fast as possible, the moment the chapter drops, you probably just 9,000 miles per hour scan through the thing and confirm the spoilers, right? But do you look at Oda's notes that he gives in the chapter?
So I saw your live stream. Yes, he says that Oda says that his dad cried during Film Red, which is wholesome. I'm laughing, but it's actually really wholesome.
You're laughing because you know the spoilers of the movie.
Yeah,
right? And you're like, this
more or less.
You're like, these tears weren't from the movie; they were from the hard work of his son.
Yeah,
like, he was appreciating.
Oda's dad is crying, and you see it in the chapter, obviously. But Oda's dad is crying at Film Red because he's like, "Wow, my son is promoting the Japanese economy. My son is making sure Japan stays well fed." Yeah. But memes aside, I do think Film Red is an emotional movie. I haven't watched all of it, and I've only seen basic spoilers.
Right.
But I think Film Red is actually one of the best One Piece movies. Just even reading the bullet points, I think it looks really good so far.
All right, so that's exciting. And if people want to know more about Film Red, it's not spoilers, but it's more so like a guided review of Film Red. Hidden Island just came back from Japan, and so we had a collab stream. And so he was one of the first people, he saw the first showing in Japan. And so I made a joke on stream that like low key Hidden might have been sitting next to Oda's dad.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you guys want to like get a little bit more insight, essentially the way I look at it, again, it's no spoilers, but it's more of like getting a proper expectation set out for the Film Red. And I think that's a make or break for a lot of movies if you walk in expecting one thing and getting a different thing. Whereas if you had proper expectations, then the movie, whichever movie you bring this context to, it'd probably feel better. And so that's the purpose of that. But I was just interested in we were just talking about wholesome things, and then that wholesome thing came up. So
yeah, I love that it's one of the editor notes. It's so cool.
Yeah, I love reading those notes. But wholesome things out the window.
Wholesome things out the window. We can't. No tears here. We're grown men. Mr. Tater Tot would not agree with this. Now, on to the chapter. We have the Sunny and the Straw Hats following the long pose. Nami pinching Luffy. He is in shambles. Like Luffy's actually pained up. He's actually bleeding. You see the bruises. Nami stretching him out. But there's also this cage that Luffy's in. And a lot of people, I saw you say it as well, they believe that this cage might actually be made out of sea stone. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, if the shoe fits, right? Because like clue one, did we see this cage out before Wano? No, right? What is Wano known for?
Sea stone. Sea stone.
When we look back at I don't remember the chapter for this. I would imagine it's like in the 180s, 170s on Arabasta and Crocodile. Crocodile had the sea stone chains. I think the other version would be in movie 6. I believe there's a sea stone cage. But look at the sea stone cage. It has like the circle thing bolts, like just like this. The shading is different from memory. I haven't gone back. Look, I don't remember that chapter. But so that's already 2. We know Wano is known for sea stone. So if we didn't have this cage before and we come out of Wano, and Wano had nothing to do with sea stone, apparently we saw like maybe 2 chapters about sea stone, then I guess we have to make it that the one productive thing is that Nami ended up getting a torture cage made out of sea stone
just for no reason
for Luffy. And the other point is the no reason part, right? Because what's interesting is Nami always wants to hurt Luffy because Luffy does out-of-pocket things and she needs to properly punish him, but he's a man made of rubber. And I fortunately just came across this panel recently, so it's on top of my head, but chapter 10, not chapter 10, I'm so used to saying chapter 10 and then the number, but chapter 22, when they're going to Treasure Island where Gaimon was, or the island of rare animals, I think is appropriate. On the way there, Nami's stitching up Luffy's hat, and then I think Luffy pokes another hole in it, and to purposely hurt him, she stabs him in the head with a needle, like literally in the head. So much so that apparently the anime had to redact that scene. They like cut it out. So
this is not PG-13.
This is day one Oda here. He wants Nami to beat his ass, and this has to be sea stone, because how else did Luffy end up in this state, right? Like, it's sea stone. It's probably like low tier sea stone, so he can like function. But I think this is sea stone, and Nami wants to beat his ass.
I could see it. I think it's just a funny plot point. But like you said, like this could actually be, it could transcend the gag, because the next thing we see is Nami emanating Conqueror's Haki. You see the black lightning, you see the aura around her, and it's like, well, like this. I know this is a gag. Oda always does these gags with Nami, but honestly, like at any point, Oda could give Nami Conqueror's Haki or etc., and it wouldn't be out of nowhere. Like it's funny, we're laughing, but if he actually wants to go that route, he could. And he could be like, hey, this is foreshadowing. Like, go back, bookmark chapter 1058. as one of your reference points.
Not even 1058. You just got to go back into videos, because I forgot if I told you, but my debut, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but my debut on Brago's stream when he first collabed, one of the first things I said was all the Straw Hats could have conquerors. I can make a solid argument. Then the first time I was on that One Piece talk, I flat out said it. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Fight me. Nami has conquerors. It's gonna happen. And that was 9 months ago. That was 9 months ago, and I had this thought long time ago. So the vision is 2020, bro. I first saw 1058 with this Conquerors hockey thing, but like you said, I think like Oda's been doing a thing where it's like we have a whole series of gags, right? It's a shonen anime. Yeah. Gags are you know, I can't think of the word, but everything has a gag. And what Oda has shown us over the course of the series is that some of these gags, if not a lot of them, are something to pay attention to because they might be valuable for different reasons, right? Like, who knows, when Zoro's lost gag finally gets solved, like maybe that'll be a huge plot point, right? And I think it, you know, a lot of people say it's just the wandering Ronin type of, you know, thing, but you know, Oda might make that a thing. And then we saw with like Luffy, the eating, all this stuff, the recovery. We find out that that's just the part of his mythical Zoan, right? Like, you know, in Ivankov's like this part isn't necessarily a gag, but when he recovered, he wants all the meat, and then he recovers in the day, and Ivankov's like, "What a miracle! How did he do this?" Well, it's like, you know, I mean, mythical Zoan.
I know how now.
Yeah, exactly. So
and. Yeah, going back to Zoro's gag, like thinking about it, like what if they get to like the final island, Lodestar, or they're about to find Laugh-Tail, Zoro gets lost, but he actually finds the One Piece. Yeah. He's like, hey guys, check this out. Look what I found.
Yeah, and what's funny is on Arabasta, right, we got that scene in the anime only where Zoro gets lost and finds a poneglyph. Like, I think it was him and Chopper. They both get lost and they find one. So it's like, I mean, the anime, you know, maybe
they might be onto something.
Maybe because at that time in the story, Oda's probably more involved. So who knows? Maybe Oda links something. But to go back to this cage thing. So I think the third reason, and we talked about this on the stream, was that this cage might have value later on. In that, at this point in the story, right? This is in the chapter. This is like primarily the most view we get of the ship before we switch gears, and we don't get an inkling of Carrot or Caribou. And Caribou at the, you know, Carrot aside, I don't want to start a fire, but like Caribou is a character that we just saw, like, oh my god, Pluton is here, you know, and then we got no follow up by that, and it's weird because we always get, or not we always, but it's weird for Caribou to not get follow up like that, right?
Yeah, whenever he's just not here.
Yeah, so maybe this cage ends up being where they put Caribou because he's like acting up or something. And because apparently, you know, when they're going to Fishman Island, they just put Caribou in a barrel and they were just like, yeah, that should do
it. They just nailed it in,
yeah. Versus this makes way more sense if this is Sea Stone in the cage, and maybe they're planning on maybe another way is that maybe this is a future way to hold Caesar. Maybe
it could be.
Caesar comes back.
I mean, honestly, they could hold any Logia in here and it'd be really like nice, right?
Yeah, maybe
like any Logia that they can't control.
Ryokugu and stocks would go down.
No. Ryokugu would not go in that cage. Don't even. Too tall for the cage.
Size viewers, the moment it happens and you see it in spoilers,
that is not going to happen.
We're gonna have a party.
The minute Green Bull gets negged again, I'm deleting my channel. That's it. It's over. The admirals need that respect. No.
You heard it here,
besides the cage, Frankie goes on and he starts talking about the fact that the Sunny is really tough. It only broke a small yard. And this got me thinking, wow, the Sunny is strong, but what happened to Law and Kid's ship? Did they survive the fall? Like, is it also made out of atom wood? Or do you think Law's like, you know, or Law and Kid are both like in the Water 7 situation where they're like, wow, we have to get a new ship. Like, this is over. Like, our journey is done. What do you think is happening to them?
So this is something I was saying before. I was like, yo, if we're jumping off the waterfall, we have to power scale these ships to the Jewel Tree.
Oh my god, yeah.
And if they survived, they're as durable so far from all the, you know, from what we can tell, as durable as the jewel tree atom Sunny. But what's interesting, you know, we get into material science. Having a metal ship submarine wouldn't bode well in this situation. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that'd be very, very bad. So physics, the engineering side of that doesn't play, but it is metal, so metal is more durable than wood. So that maybe it's Wapo metal. We don't know. Maybe Law got maybe he got the hookup. Yeah, and then Kid's ship is interesting. What's interesting about Kid's ship is I only recently realized his ship is made out of Sea King, which is kind of cool. Which is kind of like really, really cool. So maybe the Sea King durability. I mean, yeah, they survived the sea. They're the kings of the sea. So maybe.
If only we got another chapter.
Yeah,
we could see what happens to them.
But then it begs the question: who's the shipwright, the genius behind who put a Sea King ship?
Heat and Wire.
Heat and Wire, the shipwrights?
Oh, for sure, easily.
How are you? Wait, is this headcanon or is this real?
It's headcanon.
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, damn, Kid Stocks goes up.
Heat and Wire are such fodder. I remember I did a video like ranking members of each crew, and people didn't even know who Heat and Wire were. That's how fodder they are.
But I didn't. Then when you add stuff, I was like, wait, what? I was like, no, but Wire, low key, like a while ago, I was thinking, like, you know, Polly from Galila, like he's ropes, right? So maybe Wire is like the loser version.
It up.
Yeah, he's like
Smart,
Polly's like assistant or something. Like he couldn't handle ropes, he handled Wire, right? I don't know if Wire's better than rope though. Maybe it is.
I think it is. I don't know if you watched Naruto, but he could be like the Kakuzu of One Piece.
True. I mean, but isn't that Doflamingo?
Hey! Don't disrespect Wire now. The Wire fan base is gonna get upset.
Oh no! I'm so afraid of
3 dislikes on the video now.
That's honestly what it's like. Sometimes random character catch strays. I see more dislikes than usual. It's like, I pissed them off, didn't I? Mission accomplished.
The Wire subreddit
is going off right now.
All right, so after the whole Sunny feat, we get the bounties, and we get a really cool narrator box where it says updated bounties for the leaders of the 5,600 man Grand Fleet, Emperor Straw Hat Luffy, and his 9 commanders. Dude, what a crazy thing to have the Straw Hats being called, right?
Yeah, for sure. The 9 commanders, I missed that in my initial reading, and I realized that later, and then I guess the full effect of it hit me, and I'm like, they're all commanders. So, like, does that mean we're dividing up? Is 5,600 isn't easily divisible by 9?
Actually, 56? No. 54 is.
Our chat's gonna be memeing us, but
they're like, these guys can't do math.
They're not Asian.
The 2 greatest races can't do math. What are they, fishermen that can't swim?
Yo, like, we're just gonna give the last 200 to like Carrot or something. Just she could be an honorary pirate, and then it's easily divisible by 9. No. We can't even give her a consolation prize.
No, Carrot's not even in this chapter. Don't even.
So with these 9 commanders, how do you think it's gonna feel like? Is it gonna feel like Whitebeard's like situation?
I mean, there is that chance because like Whitebeard's commanders were so different. They were all such different people with different varying strengths as well. So I guess it could work like Whitebeard's commanders.
And
but
Oda
the main takeaway,
Oda has also said that Whitebeard, their commanders wasn't indicative of strength necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I was just.
But we can look at it. We could say it's pretty dang indicative of strength. Like let's be like Marco ain't losing to like what, that fisherman with like a sword. Like I mean
Karma. Yeah, I think that's Karma. I
don't even know the guy had a name.
He was the guy who was gonna capture Toki. That's why I remember him.
Oh.
Yeah, so he Whitebeard, I don't know if you remember the scene, but Whitebeard just comes behind him and bops him on the head, and then after that he says, "No more slavery, you're joining the ship."
And that was his character development.
Exactly. And then he became a devout good guy on the Whitebeard Pirates crew. So there is that.
The 9 commanders here, the main takeaway I had from the narrator saying this is that it's very reminiscent of Blackbeard and his 10 commanders.
Right.
And since we don't know who his 10th commander is, I want to make an argument that the Straw Hats will also get a 10th commander by the time Blackbeard's 10th commander is also revealed as well.
I love it. I think it's interesting, right? Because it's like the 10th commander thing was primarily, when was that asserted to us? Was that in the manga? Like there was like a 10th, was there a 10th Titanic thing, or was that a theory? And then in the Road to Laugh Tale, it was a thing.
It was, I think it was always announced, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I forget.
Like post time skip, I think it was like right there already.
Yeah, like he had 10 Titanic captains, and then people went and counted and were like, wait a second, there's only 9 here. And then, so here it's an interesting situation because we're not, people are still fighting over, are there going to be more Straw Hats? Are we done with the Straw Hats? Like I think most people probably couldn't have predicted the 9 commanders thing, because you would think it's Zoro, Jinbei, Sanji,
and that's it.
And that's it. And then when Yamato would join, that would have screwed things up in a lot of people's eyes. But now we have 9 commanders, and it's like, if we're not following like the 3 commanders, like Jack, Queen, King, and like the 3 sweet commanders, for example, then this is probably the Blackbeard parallel, which is very interesting, because then that kind of already indicates who like the end game is, right? Blackbeard is gonna be the end game. If we're shaping the Straw Hat crew to be faced to parallel that, then that's the end game. It's Blackbeard, and the emu stuff and the world government will probably be there, but the primary person is Blackbeard, I would imagine. Yeah, with this setup at least.
And in my opinion, if we don't meet a meaningful character in the next like 1 or 2 islands, I feel like the title of Nakama might lean back towards Yamato too. It really depends.
Yeah, and that's the question too. It's like, I mean, Straw Hats aside, like who would be, because I think we talked about this earlier, how funny would it be if the 10th Titanic captain was also the 10th commander?
Oh my gosh, yeah. But it's like, just that betrays them.
Yeah, but like, that aside, whoever this person is, if there is one, it would have to be a competent person, right? And Yamato is the most competent character, and I don't think it doesn't feel right that we would introduce a new character at the very end.
And how we have like the, I hate to get like across the bounties already, but it's like, oh, Dr. Chopper, Navigator Nami, Musician Brook. I feel like Yamato, if she like, I hate bringing up Yamato post Wano, but if Yamato was in the crew, what would it say? Kozuki Odin Yamato. Like that'd be just ridiculous.
Her epithet, her name is there, and then her epithet is Odin. Like, I mean, Yamato's would be interesting, because I would imagine it'd be like son of Kaido. Like that would be like the major thing, because like Ryokugu came in, and Yamato for some reason decided to dox himself, and it was just like, hey, by the way, I'm the son of Kaido. And then Ryokugu was like, what, since when? Like, what I mean?
I was half expecting some of the people of Wano, like even the Akazai at 9, to have bounties, because since they're not affiliated with the world government, they're technically like an illegal group. So if Momonosuke and all them had bounties, I'd be like, oh, I mean, makes sense.
Momo should for sure have a bounty, bro. An admiral. What? That's so disrespectful. If Momo doesn't get a bounty, that's so disrespectful to Ryokugu. Yeah. Like, unless he just didn't report that. Like, oh yeah, Shanks came, nothing else happened. Like, is it a reverse nothing? Is this truly Ryokugu is Zoro's dad because nothing happened on Wano?
No, my man Green Bull would not admit fault. If I was Green Bull, I would just say I had a stomach ache. I went home.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't even tell Akainu this.
Yeah, we're making.
It's not an excuse.
Oh,
it's not an excuse for
I have
Green
a
Bull.
stomach ache. Akainu, sir. I have a stomach ache. Don't send me to school.
No. Green Bull could have mopped the floor with everybody. Anyways, back to the chapter. All right. Back to the chapter.
With Chopper, did they ever say doctor before? I thought it always said pet. So this is a level up. Apparently, this is super disrespectful. He's a doctor, and they give him 900.
Not only did the world government acknowledge Chopper as a doctor, but the narrator was like, hey, by the way, this is he's one of the commanders of the Straw Hat Pirates. So, doctor, commander, they said, hey, here's a bounty of 1,000. Like why? Like I understand that it's not, strength and everything else, yada yada.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, bro, like you're only putting 1,000 on Chopper. Like, come on.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird because how are these bounties even like purported? Like how are
Yeah.
they? How are like where did they get like Nami? Right, Nami got 300 million boost, which is significant. What was told to them? Like they didn't change her picture. She didn't get a new
No.
epithet. There's nothing new, right?
It's
you would
association.
imagine if she got like seductress or something, something like a little bit elevated. I mean, cat burglar works, so she's stealing like stealing things still, but like I would imagine that if they included like some kind of update like Dr. Chopper, right, if they did like navigator Zeus tamer, like god tamer Nami,
Thunder God Nami.
yeah, then we increase it. But like this makes me wonder like what was told, and we don't know, and we're not given any information about that, right?
It looks like a lot of the Straw Hats just got a flat 300 boost, right? We had Usopp going up to 500 from 200, Frankie going up from 94 to 394, Brooke same way, and same with Nami. And if they're getting
I didn't know all of them were like that.
Yeah,
okay.
It was all 300, except for Robin and the Commanders there. They're the top 3. And if they're getting this 300 boost by association, you'd imagine Chopper would get a 300 boost. Like where is it? So at some point, I'm like, it's either the gag has to either end, or Oda is doing this on purpose, and Chopper has something else about him that we just don't know yet.
Right. And that's the other important thing, right? Because Oda set the precedent of us having to. I think prior to Sanji, everyone's like, "Oh, this is a gag." This is again reflecting back on earlier in the conversation. Everyone when we saw Sanji's poster of him with the busted ass face, right? Nobody batted an eyelash. They're like, "Oh, this is a gag," and then it wasn't a gag. And then Sabo Odi, you could still say the Duval thing is a low-key gag, right? Because it was a gag kind of plot, even though it did come into fruition. But the thing is, no, Oda doubled down even more because the other detail on that poster was alive only. And then that was huge for the story. And so I think we do have to look at like Chopper's, a lot of people think that Vegapunk has been manipulating Chopper's bounty because the human fruit, Drum Island, Dr. Kreha possibly. There might be some kind of thing where Dr. Vegapunk was behind that fruit. I've seen that theory floating around. But it might be a world where there's some kind of preference towards Chopper somewhere, somehow, and we're keeping it here. You know what I mean?
That's actually a really good plot point. I like that. I like that theory.
And that includes Vegapunk coming in, and now it's just about making it a seamless thing, right? And then the other blatant thing here is, one, we weren't shown Brooke's poster, which is interesting. I imagine it stayed the same. We weren't shown Usopp's, but we were shown Frankie's, and Frankie's does not have.
Oh, Frankie's is. See, I think this is classic Oda foreshadowing. So I made a video about 10:58 a minute ago before we hopped on here.
Yeah,
and I said that Frankie's last poster was General Frankie. And then in his fight with Sasuke, he was in General Frankie like 99% of the time. So is the Sunny being his newest bounty poster foreshadowing that his next fight will be entirely on the Sunny?
Nah. It's foreshadowing that the Sunny is a Gundam.
It's my gosh. I mean, I could see it. Hey, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, you in our first collab, you were talking about how your Pluton could have been like a golem type of thing, and is like, Frankie. We talked about Frankie and how from Thriller Bark to now, it's like he's building up this Gundam type of thing. And when you think about Gundam is a very like established, like classic anime. In Japan, in the world, everybody's. I think just the other last month they were like, we're building a real Gundam, and that's just like crazy. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't put it past Oda to
want to have something like that.
Yeah, in the story, and maybe the Sunny is that, or Frankie does something to Sunny and makes it that. But it like now maybe this fuels Frankie's rage, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make the Sunny get its own bounty.
So something I could see with this too is, since you mentioned Gundams, I think another anime I could compare this to is Naruto. At the very end, when they have the fight between Naruto and Sasuke of Shippuden, they both hopped in their giant quote-unquote Gundam forms. You had Sasuke in his, Susanoo. You had Naruto in his Kurama form. Yeah. And they're just going at it as these giant monsters. So
they even had a fusion scene, too.
Yeah. And if Frankie, like, embraces that and becomes, or creates a giant mecha Sunny, then maybe he could fight, Sanhan Wolf, the colossal battleship of the Blackbeard pirates. Oh, true. Big versus big.
Very true. That is, that's another thing. When I look back at this chapter, I'm gonna have to you put more focus on this, how the matchups would go, but that one is a huge one, right? Who's fighting Sanwan Wolf? And if he's a battleship and we have a shipwright, we're gonna get some. Yeah. Frankie's gonna fix him up real good. That's for sure.
Hit him with the coup de boo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Give him the coup de boo. If anything.
One more thing. Going back to Chopper's bounty. Yeah. I just thought this was a funny note. But what do they think about Monster Point? Like, does nobody stop and wonder what that is? Like, I mentioned, I was like, yo, like, does the world government just like look at this like it's Bigfoot? They're like, well, here comes this mythical monster out of nowhere. I guess he's gone now. Whoops.
Imagine they gave him a separate bounty. Like, it's they just don't.
That would be so perfect. That would be perfect, in my opinion.
Yeah, but at this point, the lurking legend,
lurking legend, Bigfoot Chopper. Who knows who this thing is?
And the thing is, that should be red alert, because Monster Point Chopper no-diffed Annie's lobby, right?
Yeah,
the Straw Hats had to stop. I mean, Frankie had to stop Monster.
He was big. Like he defeated Kumadori. Like, come on.
Yeah, and who knows who else he would have defeated if Frankie didn't throw him in the ocean, right? Like, yeah. Who could have stopped that Chopper? Annie's lobby almost got soloed by that Chopper.
And it's funny when you also think about it too, because like when you think about Monster Point Chopper, it's like it's like the Superman thing with Superman and Clark Kent. Like, they're not in the same room at the same time. So like, how do they not realize that Chopper is actually Monster Point Chopper? Like, at some point, the world government and the Gorosei's incompetence has to be put into play.
Yeah, it's almost like how now I'm a completely different person. You can't even recognize me.
Wait, where's Par?
What happened to Par?
What happened to Par Vision? Whoa! What the heck? Who are you?
That's what they're doing to Chopper, essentially. They're just like, it's funny because on my stream sometimes people are like, where's Professor Parr? I'm like, this is just normal me today.
Yeah, this is Clark Kent.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because now I didn't know that all of them got a flat 300 million bounty. So that even more than anything, it's like Chopper is going to get special treatment. Frankie's going to get special treatment. Usopp having the highest bounty,
500 million, bro.
Wild. And Dude. It's funny, Doflamingo put that bounty on him, so I guess that just carried on. I guess that was
it did. I mean, the thing with Usopp though is that like, at least like I could look back at Chopper, Frankie, Brook, and Nami, and I'm like, oh well, they made something really big. Usopp, like, I don't want to be mean to Usopp, but it's he didn't.
It's fair. And only got he didn't
do much.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, granted, this wasn't his arc, right? Like, this was focused on Zoro, the Scabbards, Luffy, and etc. But it's like, I wish, this just reminds me that like I really wish Usopp did more here.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit prior, and it's just like, it's I want to be happy for it, but I want it to be earned. I think that's the biggest thing. Even if you don't like Usopp, I know a lot of people don't like Usopp, but they low-key support him. And the one thing that like bridges everybody is like, as long as Usopp doesn't get like, he earns it, right? As long as he earns whatever he gets, it's not some bull crap like thing that
he earned Dressrosa.
Yeah. So if we get more of that, I like something, hopefully later on, he's like, he earns the 500 million feeling, you know? Maybe that's what happens, right? Somewhere in Elbaf, like it gets said, like, now you feel like a 500 million bounty man. You know?
And the thing is that like, even if he had just one scene, not fighting anybody, just having one scene where he steps out of the shadow and says something impactful or, you know, does something crazy, then it's like, whoa, like this is Usopp and he deserves this. Like, even if only like a snippet of people see his actions, and it's like, it's dope. But the thing is, like, his only actions were, I don't even want to attribute, throwing dango in people's mounts, but he got whooped by page 1. He told Nami to, like, hey, revoke Luffy, yada yada. And then, like, he saved Kinemon and Nukiku, but all he did was pick them up. Like I love Usopp as a character. My dad loves him, so I have this like attachment to him, right?
Yeah.
Like I hit my dad up. I'm like, hey, Usopp is doing pretty cool in the story, but I can't tell him this about Onigashima. For the last 4 years, I haven't talked to my dad. Like, come on. Like, what do I say to my dad?
This is the most random lore. I think this is the first time you've told me that your dad actually watches One Piece or reads One Piece.
So he doesn't read One Piece. He watches it, and then I tell him about One Piece. But my dad's favorite character is Usopp. So whenever Usopp does something really cool, I call my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, guess what Usopp did? And then my dad doesn't know his name because he's super Asian. So he's like, the guy with the long nose? And I was like, yes.
Yo, you should show him my Usopp video.
My gosh.
Yes, do it. That's a hype. That's a Usopp hype video.
I love my dad, but I feel too heartbroken to tell him about what Usopp did in Onigashima to actually call him up.
That's fine. Just show him the video, and then that'll. Because I always say this, recently people asked about Usopp, and I always bring up, like, if I didn't make that Usopp video, right, I always had the ideas. There's no chance after Onigashima I would have the motivation to make that video. But the thing is, even with Onigashima, he didn't take there's nothing negative, right? It's just that there's so much neutral that it became negative. There's so much nothing that it does take away from him. But because of the nature of it's nothing doesn't mean it takes away from that Usopp video, right?
Yeah.
So
I just feel like, I can't even blame Usopp at this point. I really just do think it's because Onigashima had so many characters that Usopp couldn't properly shine. Yeah. If we got rid of the 9 scabbards and we went with 5 scabbards like Oda originally intended, then I feel like he would have had more screen time. Yeah. But that just isn't the case, and it is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Hopefully, praying for the future.
Hey, Elbath.
Yeah.
Next bounty, Nico Robin, 930 million. Poneglyphs, she's crazy. I'm glad she got it.
She actually beat a Toby Ropo, and fairly simply, form. I would imagine. She got pushed, and the thing is, like, I feel like Robin's broken, and she just kind of just doesn't ever, break the mold of her character. But Black Maria, that fight was one of those situations.
It was nice.
Where not just one thing, but multiple things happened. She, after 500 chapters now, nearly 500 chapters, she's like, by the way, I know Fishman karate. And then also she pulls out this giant demonio floor thing, and it's just like, damn, we didn't need this at all. Like, maybe Dressrosa, when you were fighting Diamante, like, that would have been like a great time. Like, she was getting stabbed and sliced, and there was a sunflower thing. It's like, man, this would have been
demonia form, bro.
Yeah.
At least in Dressrosa, Zoro was showing out. He no-diff Pika.
Yeah.
But Robin honestly could have no-diff Diamante.
Apparently,
why didn't she?
She had also karate the whole time.
Like Hack taught her that, and I'm pretty excited because in the upcoming episodes of One Piece, I think 2 or 3 episodes later, we're actually going to see Robin's demonia form, and a lot of people have been debating whether the demonia form has ornament haki or not, based on the shading and etc.
That's not even.
So I think that also be interesting.
Debating. But I think the shade, to me, it doesn't look like armament the same way, but it could be. But what I'm debating, and I have a whole video on this, is because for whenever we see the clones, usually we get like an understanding that like Robin shows up later, or the thing dissipates in the petals or whatever. But that didn't happen with the Demonio floor.
No,
and we didn't see Robin in the panels with it. So I was like, yo, is this just like a different form of Robin? Like, is this her?
I actually think we did see Robin when she first activated demonia form. I think we actually saw her.
It's 1021.
Why you're so crazy? What the heck?
I remember this one, but yeah,
How do you remember this?
I don't think there's a single panel when she. It's useful while we're on recording too, so you don't have to cut anything out. But like pause time to look for the thing. But yeah, once Demonia Floor comes out, I don't see Robin a single time, like in her small form.
I think you're right. Yeah, no, I'm mistaking her original form before Demonia as that. Okay, you're right. You're right.
It's interesting because I would think that it's a clone, but like maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. We don't know Robin's. So now that Ryokugu's here, he has an actual forest, wood, whatever, and he's making flower fists and whatever. Yeah. And then Robin has the flower fruit, but then she makes hands, and I'm just like, what? Like that was the point of that video, right? Where it's like
flower. I think another translation for Robin's fruit though is bloom.
Yeah, so it's the hana is flower. That's like the most like the most one-to-one thing, right? So it's the hana no mi, but I think for kids might have translated it as bloom.
Hey, don't diss 4Kids. 4Kids is awesome. They made Luffy say something about crocodile, smothering him in poo or something.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Okay, so everybody who doesn't know that effect. Yeah, 4Kids dubbed One Piece very badly during every arc, really. Like every arc that 4Kids dubbed was awful. So just throwing it out there. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Yeah, there's a reason they went out of business for that one.
Yeah. Imagine going out of business, but getting licensed One Piece. That's pretty bad.
It's like losing the lottery, but finding $1,000 outside your house.
Yeah, something like that.
So after Robin's bounty, we get the bounties of our top 3 commanders. We have Sanji, Jinbei, Zoro, and you made a really good note about this, that their bounties actually, or at least Zoro and Sanji, their bounties correlate to their birthdays. I did not know that.
Yeah, this is the perk of having this memory that the Zoro, because I made the Zoro video like last year, Sanji video last year, and I was like, wait, what are these numbers? Why would Oda just put like 1 0 0 0 1? I was like, whoa, it's his birthday. Sanji's birthday is March 2nd, and the importance of that is not importance of that, but what sticks in my mind is that March 3rd is I forgot the name of the dolls. It's not Kokeshi dolls. It's some kind of dolls. It's like Hino something. And essentially it's to protect women, protect girls. And that's the point of the day. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I think Tama's birthday is March 3rd. Tama's birthday might be that. I have to double check. But so that's why that stuck. And then Zoro's birthday is 11/11, and that's significant because Shimotsuki in older Japanese, I believe, is November, and so Ryuma is also November, and then Shimotsuki is like there's like a fall theme, autumn theme, and so that 11/11 is Zoro's birthday to tie in all
that's such a good insight. This is why I like you, Par. Look at that. Not only do you have like the chapters memorized, but you have like not random details, but like the small details like memorized too. That's crazy.
I got you.
11/11 and 3-2.
I like how you preface this conversation with not outing yourself in the stream. to give you guys clarifications, Sai was sitting at his computer like, these numbers don't mean fucking shit. And then
so I before the stream I actually released my 1058 review, and I saw these numbers, and I was like, guys, if you guys know what these numbers mean, please let me know. And then literally I tuned into Parvision's stream, and he's like, oh, of course, these are birthdays, duh. Like, I just like my whole world like flipped upside down. What about Jinbei then, huh? What about Jinbei? What's his bounty about?
I don't know what Jinbei's one is. I have to put more thought, but like he was called the first son of the sea, so maybe that has something to do with 11 there. I'm not sure. 1-1.
Yeah.
But it to me, the interesting part, and I'm curious of your take on this, right? Because we're getting with the bounties, it's like 300 million plus on these, right? So it's like we don't understand Oda's logic besides he likes the number 3, right? Robin, we kind of get that grasp there. For me, people are gonna. Obviously they're going to come out of this like, oh no, Sanji's 4th, he's the lowest, but for Sanji to get a billion bounty, I think that's a W. But the weirder part was I thought there would be a bigger gap between Zoro and Sanji, even though Queen and King don't have that much of a gap. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a gap, and to me all of these numbers are kind of the same. Like Is that how you take it?
Yeah, see, this is something I mentioned too. Like, I understand Oda doesn't want to give them higher bounties than the people they defeated, and that's why Zoro and Sanji have a lower bounty than King and Queen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I wish there was that gap. And somebody made a comment in one of my videos saying, hey, like, this is so they have room to grow. This is a good thing. But it's like, but this is the final arc. Like, how many more bounty increases are we going to get? I think 3 max. We're going to get 3 more bounty increases at the very most.
Really?
And with yeah,
I was looking at this and I was like, if Oda used their birthdays here, this might be the last like relevant bounties. Maybe. I'm not even
until
sure.
the end of the series. Like, I wouldn't be shocked about that. I would honestly believe that. And that's the thing. It's like, if that's the case, like, there's no real harm in giving Zoro, Jinbei, and Sanji bigger bounties with a better, more noticeable gap. Yeah. And, you know, Sanji and Zoro, whatever. 69 million berries, that's the difference. Mm-hmm. But Jinbei being
is
only
69?
one, I think so. It's actually, it's pretty close. It's
okay,
68.
I won't math check you on that one.
but Zoro and Jinbei being so close, it's like I understand the birthday thing, but at that point, just have Jinbei be like, you know, 1,070,000,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like why so close to Zoro? I feel like there might be something there, or it could be me looking, you know, too deep into the abyss and the abyss is staring right back at me, but who knows?
I think what this says is that these bounties, like people always said this, right? And when the Luffy Kid in Law bounties came out, it was confirmed to me that the bounties are decorative, right? Like they're symbolic through the numbers more so than even narrative value, right? Because I would say that this almost does hurt a little bit the narrative value of this, because it's like when you put it in perspective, Robin isn't that far off from Zoro. She's literally like 150 million, 170 million, something like that, right? Like, no, not even. Like,
and
it's 100 million off.
The bounties are, you know, threat level. These are the threat level of the pirates towards the world government. So it makes sense Robin has this much. But if you really want to go deep in on like, oh, this is their threat level being portrayed by their bounties, then it's like all the Straw Hats should have like bounties of like $10. Because like, let's be real here, all the Straw Hats are inherently good people. Like, they're not going to go around to a random city and start killing Marines or etc. Right. They're just pirates associated with Luffy.
And that exposes the hypocrisy in the purpose of the bounties in the world government and the Navy. It's like they have an agenda, right? The Straw Hats have been working against their agenda, so they've been raising
which is the One Piece, yeah.
But, you know, in the grand scheme of the agenda, you know, they have done more good for the world government, right? Taking out Crocodile, taking out Doflamingo. But that also implies that keeping them in their power positions was part of the world government agenda, right? So, you know, that goes into the you know, various underworld things. But, you know, these bounties, it's like, you know, now that I see that, Oda used the birthdays here, right? It's like, I don't know. I don't even, when you said the end of series, it's like, what, at the end of series, we might not even have bounties because the world government should be toppled by the end of the series, right? So, so these may be the last relevant bounties.
And speaking of like the Straw Hats doing more good for the world government than bad, I'm surprised they didn't extend a Shishibukai invitation, considering how lacking they always were. They were always essentially missing a member after Crocodile. Like, Luffy is going around helping countries essentially. Why not give him an invite? I mean, granted, he would turn it down, right? Like, there's no way he would say yes.
But I'm surprised you're right.
You don't send him like a news coup with like, hey, you're invited to be a Shishibukai. Instead, you give it to Law.
I guess because Marineford, right? Because he took a direct stance against them. So then they're like, we can't invite him after all of this, right? And then they named it. If they didn't name drop Dragon, probably, then they could.
Yeah.
But then again, it's just kind of like, isn't the verse dumb? Like, you have, how many people are honestly named Monkey D something, right? You have Monkey D Garp. How hard was it to connect the dots between Monkey D? Isn't that on his
It's on his thing, yeah. It's on his thing. Like, everybody knows he's Monkey D Dragon.
Yeah, so
you know what? You've convinced me. We're putting too much logic behind this.
The bounties are just kind of like
they're there. It's fun. Oda's poking fun at the fan base. Sanji is 4th place. He might not be 4th next time. Who knows? It's just good fun.
I'm more upset, but I was more anticipating the buggy bounties. You know,
Yeah, we never got it.
Yeah, so and we'll touch that. We're about to touch that right now.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, like, speaking of Buggy, we go straight to him after this, and something that somebody like, or I guess a lot of people have pointed out is that when they introduce Luffy as one of the emperors of the sea, he's being beaten up, he's in a cage, and then when we're introduced to Buggy, he's also being beaten up, but he has the title of Yonko underneath him, which is kind of funny.
And it fits.
They're relating,
right? Like the parallel.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then Nami's the one who putting down the heat essentially, right? So
yeah,
Crocodile, Mihawk. It's in
Crocomom theory going high.
I almost wish Oda doubled down a little bit more on who is like beating up. Like Frankie should be a little bit upset about the yard being broken on the ship. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But this is the solid one. I like this. I liked even like the double spread appearance because this shocked me when I saw it. Right?
It's so cool
holding Buggy's head like that, and oh man, this is one of the cooler Cross Guild. So what I did say when this panel came up, right, was this is reality hitting, right? This is reality coming back. We were in a fever dream for the last few chapters. Cross Guild, Buggy's a Yonko, and that part can stay, right? But like people were like, oh, he made a nuclear bomb. He showed up and liberated Mihawk and Crocodile. And there were so many ways to build him up, and I wasn't taking a crack on them. Have your Buggy fun, right? But I think this is the realistic one that most people were expecting, that Mihawk and Crocodile were the masterminds and Buggy was the face. And I just love the story behind all of that. And I'm not mad that the chapter took a detour in explaining it, because that was incredible.
Oh, I loved it. So the bounties were huge, but honestly, my favorite part of the chapter was the Buggy stuff. Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile. I love the antagonists of One Piece. So once I got to this part of the chapter, I was rock hard. I was so excited to see all of this. Like Crocodile, Mihawk, Buggy, like come on, 3 of my top 10 characters in a single panel. Like I was living the life. And the best part is that we get to see more character development from Mihawk. Buggy, we already knew a lot about him. Crocodile, we already knew a lot about him. But Mihawk, we didn't know anything about him. All we knew was that he was, kind of a harsh teacher. He was kind of just there. He didn't really care. But here we see that he's like the Iron Giant. He has emotions. He's the Tin Man from Alice in Wonderland. That's who he is. And it's just nice to see that he's trying to kill Buggy, or at least he doesn't really care for him.
Yeah, he's kind of like, this is I think I got the Randy Troy got the Crocodile thing pat down. I'd say I got the Mihawk side really locked in, where I was kind of like, Mihawk didn't want the notoriety of any titles. He just wants to chill. Yeah. So he would do even if it were to be underneath Buggy, he'd be fine. But what's even funnier here was he was about to just be like, he was the one who, it was Crocodile was the one who was just like, wait, are you serious? And Mihawk's like, yeah, let's just we could take him out whenever we want to, right? And it's just kind of I think what's even funnier is I think this is Oda coming out like he broke the mold. I think this is, someone can fact check me, this might be the most dialogue we got out of Mihawk in the entire series in one chapter.
I would agree. You literally do not even have to fact check it. This is that is actually a fact,
and I love it. I think Oda did a great job with this chapter, with the portrayal of both Crocodile and Mihawk, right? Like even the way the organization got like the progression of it, right? Because we got hit with the reality, but then we got pulled back into the fever dream, where it was essentially Buggy has his executives, Crocodile and Mihawk, in front, right? Like this whole thing was just like, hey guys, this is what really is supposed to happen, but this is what's going to happen in the rest of the story, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, like
after.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, just like the way Crocodile and Mihawk just like are lined up there. This is iconic again.
It's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
This is one of the best panels in One Piece. Like it's going down in the top 20.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's the thumbnail of this video, right?
Oh, 1,000%. And after this, we get the Yonko commanders. We have Galdino, Moji, Kabaji, and all of them. None of them are backing Buggy up. Honestly, at this point, with how they're treating Buggy, I was expecting Mr. 3 to, wax Yoru. I was expecting Kabaji to break it. And then Alvida to just, use her smooth fruit to destroy Crocodile Sand. But on the opposite end, they're all turning tail. They're all following Crocodile. They're saying, well, the age of Buggy is over. Which, it makes sense, right? Like, they're afraid of him. Who would want to fight the world's strongest swordsman in Crocodile? Nobody.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on. Like, Galdino, he's sweating, and he's like, oh, you know what? We were really never Nakama. And I was like, it hurts, man. It hurts. I understand, but it hurts.
What's even funnier when you look at the structure of this panel is it's the Buggy's commanders, including Alvida. Alvida, I want to see your take on these people because, Crocodile could probably do something. But I want to know how Alvida's power works, because apparently it just slides everything, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the structure of this panel is you get the commanders, and there's one person facing off on them, and it's Mr. 1. So to me, it makes it feel like Mr. 1 is stronger than all of them.
You think Mr. 1 is stronger than multiple Yonko commanders? Wait, what?
I told you, the fever dream.
You're capping.
The fever dream is still here. I mean, I honestly, Mr. 1 versus Alvida, I don't even know how that goes down. Does Mr. 1 have hockey? We don't know. Who is Kabaji the person next to Alvida? I think it is, right?
You can't recognize Kabaji?
Oh. I mean, it looked, to be honest, when I looked at that, I was like, who's this baddie next to Rob Lucci? And I was like, oh shit, that's Alvida.
It's Kabaji.
And then
oh my god,
and then so I was just like, all right, so that I thought that was Rob Lucci at first, and I was like, why is he here? And I was like, oh wait, that's Kabaji.
Well, I know Kabaji rivals Rob Lucci in strength, but I mean, you don't have to compare him like that, bro. Come on.
The day when Kabaji no diffs Lucci, that'd be wild,
dude. I would lose my mind. I would
on a unicycle,
just be yelling. Yeah, that would be crazy.
How crazy would it be if Moji, the beast tamer, tames Lucci, right? Because Tama can't tame actual Zoans, but who says Moji can't?
Yeah. Hey, in the final war, Moji's going to be riding Kaido. we're wondering where he is. He's actually locked up in Moji's bedroom or something.
Yo, if only Tama's fruit worked on the actual Zoans, it would be crazy if that's how Onigashima ended. Tama beats Kaido. And then that would solve the issue where people are like, Luffy shouldn't have been able to beat Kaido, even with Gear 5. And it's like, yeah, it's because Tama came through,
Yeah, Tama tamed Kaido. They made him happier.
Yeah, so I mean, this whole portrayal is just like incredible. Now, one thing I was wondering, and I'm guessing it's because she went for Moria, but Perona's not here, right? So
yes, sad, dude. I was looking forward to the Goth Girls, but Perona isn't here. And I think last we saw her, she was actually wanting to go back to Moria, who is captured or deadened by the Blackbeard pirates. Which I swear, if my girl Perona is messed up, I am coming for Oda. Like, don't do Perona like that.
More than that, Perona's 10th Titanic captain.
Oh, okay, I'd be cool with that then. All right.
We just brought an actual she was a Moria commander, right? She would be.
Yeah, she was one of them.
We just tied one of her to Blackbeard. So next time we see Perona is probably with Blackbeard, or it's going to be another situation where she's like escaping like this evil dude, Yeah. It might be like that. I have to reread her story with when they were on Gloomy Kingdom or whatever. Muggy Kingdom, was it called?
Muggy Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, whatever that is. Oh, Gloom Island. Muggy Kingdom, Gloom Island. There we go.
I think the anime called it Muggy Island, actually.
Muggy. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I vividly remember Muggy Kingdom being Mihawk's hideout, and I was like, wow, Muggy, Buggy, ha ha ha.
So, and not to commandeer this next part, but this is the part
go for it.
I wanted to really talk to you about, right? Because to me, this next step, the next steps, if not all of this chapter, but primarily here is where it started. The Marines started to take fat L's one after another.
All right. Hey, it is nameless fodder. I saw this. You were slandering the Marines, but I just gotta say it here: no vice admirals, no admirals, no fleet admiral Akainu, no celestial dragons who are obviously very strong. None of them are here. You are slandering nameless Marine number 5, where I could be on the opposite end and say, well, Luffy destroys like 50,000 fishmen and like thousands of pirates just by looking at them.
So the way Mihawk, like, because the way Mihawk talks about it, it's like Marines keep swarming the island. So it seems like, and what we see here, right, is Mihawk is in his man cave. He doesn't even care.
He's drinking wine, bro. He's drinking wine.
I don't know his observation, Aki, but I'm imagining he senses, and he's probably like, the baboons can handle it. That is so.
Whoa! The baboons can handle it.
I mean, look, the 3 of them are looking through the window. 3 of those are probably his baboon commanders, and he deems the Marines so low of a threat. He doesn't even leave. He doesn't dispatch his commanders, and these are fleets, multiple fleets of the Marines coming at him, just being clapped over and over again. And then, okay, so this isn't even power scaling. This is brain, this is IQ points, right? We find out in this chapter, Mihawk was referred to as the Marine Hunter, which finally gives us this awesome, because I mean, did you always think that Mihawk was like hunting people down prior to becoming a warlord? That was always like a feeling, I feel like.
No, I never had that real feeling. I thought he was just a dude that was chilling one day and became like the world's strongest swordsman. That sounds like a sarcastic slide, but no. Like his entire character has just been, I want to just live at home and cook and, drink wine and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he never really struck me as a guy that went out of his way to fight people. But I guess it was a different time back then when he wasn't the world's strongest swordsman that, hey, I want to be this person, so I need to go out and hunt people.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that he focused on Marines and not other pirates.
Yeah, because when we got introduced to Don Krieg and like the various, like the way it was said, like he was challenging people. And to me, I was like, okay, maybe he was a pirate hunter, right? Because the strongest swordsmen from our understanding so far have always been pirates. And so this Marine part, the hunter part, love it, makes sense. The Marine part was like, whoa. And then I was like, all right, the Marines are fucking dumb because okay, you abolish this means that he was hunting Marines. This was his soul, so much though. This is epithet that they were like, we can't deal with this man, so our only solution is to make him a warlord. So he doesn't, he stops attacking us. We have no proper solution towards this guy other than, hey, can you stop hurting us? Can you focus on the other side? And so they name him that, and then they abolish the warlord system, and they don't put like a byline, but like, except Mihawk, like we don't want the smoke, right? Because they never wanted the smoke apparently. And to me, it's like this is IQ points falling down the drains for the Marines because they're just throwing.
It's been falling down. It's always been low. Like Gorosei, world government, they're just not smart.
All right, I just needed you to acknowledge this point because they're just throwing. I'm like, what are they even thinking at this point? They're like, the Marines keep storming that. Stop sending the Marines to me.
Yeah, you are literally sending like a grown man or his wife or kids. Like you're sending them to their death.
Yeah.
Like. And imagine getting the phone call and saying, hey, go after Mihawk. Like, bro, let me call my family. Like, let me arrange the funeral in advance. Like, why?
He's not even trying. He's just chilling. Like,
he is drinking wine, bro. He is the Gordon Ramsay of One Piece. Like, he does not care.
He legit went to his garage and said, "What kind of hobby can I pick up while my island's being sieged?"
Like while I'm being swarmed. Like the way he says swarming, it almost sounds like a man just walking through a forest being hit by flies, right? Like it's not even anything to him.
Yeah, and he has a legion of baboons that are apparently taking care of it, right? Like, I don't know. All I know is that it seems like, why else are these Marines, are these baboons peeking in? They're like, what, do we take care more of them? Do we destroy their entire fleet? Mihawk, please let me know what the orders are. You know?
Mihawk is on a different level, man. Like I don't even know.
Here's a funny question. We bring the baboons to the Cross Guild. Where do they rank up? Are they above Impel Down level 5?
They're underneath Yonko Commander Moji, the Beast Tamer.
Okay, and where does... I mean, Moji's above the Impel Down in terms of hierarchy.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, all right. So these baboons are up there.
These baboons are high tier.
Imagine Buggy can't beat the baboons.
I don't think he can. Remember back in Impel Down when Buggy couldn't beat the Blue Gorillas?
Oh, yeah.
I would argue that these guys are stronger than Blue Gorillas.
Yeah. I have a theory video that I'm like, I don't even know where to put these people in there, but I want to put them in there. The Blue Gorillas. Very interesting race.
They don't look like gorillas.
Yeah, they don't. They look like just straight out of like Super Mario almost.
Just like a random fodder character.
Yeah, for sure. It's just weird. But this is interesting also now because like we talked about this last time when we ended the stream or ended our video with it, but we found out that Crocodile is the brains, right?
So Mihawk says, you and I are the same. We don't trust anyone. But somehow they lay their trust in Buggy. Do you think it's because they trust Buggy, or do you think because he's so weak that he really doesn't matter to them?
I think, see, that's what's interesting about this chapter, right? It kind of feels like they aren't just bullying him. They also feel like it feels like a friendship almost, like building. And you know, like I would imagine if Sanji and Zoro were like loose cannons on their own, like Sanji's Crocodile, Mihawk is Zoro, they would act similar here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
if they didn't have any respect to Luffy, they'd be like, all right, time to beat him up again.
Like a low key, it's interesting because I feel like not that they don't respect Buggy or do respect Buggy, I think they acknowledge Buggy. You know, I think that's what it is, and that on its own is more powerful. Like, you know, if they didn't acknowledge him, they would just straight out kill him. But they acknowledge him for the fact that his followers are so devout to him that it would be harder to lead this group of people without Buggy, right? So that's acknowledging his leadership is valuable, right?
It's the name. It's power in the name. Yeah.
So I think something we both talked about though was in this page was the detail that Buggy's fodder is getting, right? Like,
yeah, these guys looking important.
Yeah, like we both talked about this half mask, half like dude scarred. Like he looks like a chess character. Like he looks more designed, like better designed than Drake almost. Like this is a character I want to see in the future.
If you guys don't know who he's talking about, it's on the bottom panel of Mihawk's flashback, where the guy says, take a look, their warships are already under attack. And he's pointing out, and yeah, like if you look at all of Buggy's subordinates, they all look stronger than Kabanji, Moji, and Alvida, which is insane because those are Yonko commanders. Like, how is that possible?
This is still technically Yonko commanders, and it's interesting because I want to scale like these characters up to detail. Like the more detail Oda puts, the more valuable, the more meaningful they will be. Yeah. And now I feel like I'm set out for failure because there's no way this random dude, no name is going to be introduced, right?
No, he's done now.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first and last time we'll probably see him.
Yeah. So it's interesting though. The next stuff is pretty crazy too.
Yeah. So what happens next is the Marine ships start attacking Buggy's Island, Empty Bluff Island, and they defeat Crocodile and Mr. One. And they actually throw them back into Impel Down, which is a huge W to the Marines.
Yeah, is that what we're saying happened here? Like, I was reading along and I was like, damn, I just misunderstood this completely.
Yeah, okay, so memes aside, Crocodile, Mr. One, they destroy pretty much all the ships. Like, I think 10 ships are in that panel, and they pretty much all got sunk. They're all destroyed. Crocodile and Mr. One just too strong. And I love this because they say, I guess the rumors about him working under Chairman Buggy are true. And I'm just like, bro, who is starting these rumors? Who is saying this out-of-pocket stuff? Like, imagine going around saying, oh, yeah, do you remember when Buggy defeated Roger? Like who says this? Like, how is this happening?
That's what I was saying when I stopped on this exact panel. And I was like, this is, if we were to power scale fodder, these are S tier fodder, because ain't nobody creating headcanon like this in the series. Like this shit is beyond even our community. Our community is building up Buggy in these weeks like no other. But no, they don't hold a candle to these dudes right here.
Oh yeah. Because
you're asking who started the rumor. They did. They just forgot this. They made this rumor up, and they're like, "Yep, that's what's sticking right now." Like, this is so. I love these guys. This group is probably one of my favorite groups in One Piece. Top 5. Yeah, they're so funny. Wait, what are you laughing at?
Just the group, because they said that's our Buggy.
I was gonna ask you. I tweeted this out. This is my first like real tweet in a long time. I've been getting this like low key feeling in the back of my head that Crocodile and Ben Beckman are related. And when you look at him in this chapter, he looks like Ben Beckman, right?
It's the shading. It's the hair color. He has like this weird gray hair when he destroys the Marine ships.
It's so weird. The more I've been seeing Ben Beckman recently, and then now Crocodile, I'm like, are they? Is it? Maybe it's just a similar design. But more than that, you see above Mr. One, right? Who is that? Like on this like thing? Do you see that dude? What is that?
So I'm not gonna lie. When I first read that, I actually thought that was Mr. One, and I was like, "Wow, he's into yoga." But now that I look at it, I'm like, "Who is that person?" Yeah. I'm assuming it's just a Marine getting slaughtered.
Yeah,
but I'm not 1,000% sure what's above Mr. One in the It's Crocodile Sir panel.
Yeah, it's a really weird like body shape too. It almost looks like there's legs hanging up at the top and the side, but then there's also standing on legs. I have no idea what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's an Oda mystery for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that
up
to
there
the
with
viewers.
The Florian Triangle.
That's gonna go down. Everyone's gonna be going back. What is in that panel? 1058.
Yeah. What if the anime shows it, but it's also exactly framed like that?
They just give no clarity. The animator's like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck that was either.
the animator's blurred out, so it's just like actually like a blurred spot, so it's even more mysterious.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Oda said to blur it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But next thing we get revealed to is Crocodile, or I guess Buggy's debt to Crocodile. And they never really explain how Buggy got the debt.
So this was something I was trying to explain to a lot of people, right? Because, everyone thought that Buggy had all the money. And yes, he did. He has like this major operations. But what he also has, unlike everybody else, is he has a huge payroll, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes or breaks a lot of companies. And so he is broke and probably had to take on debt because of, imagine Hirudin. I mean, he's not on the crew anymore, but like, imagine Hirudin's like, where's my paycheck, Buggy? It's like, you know what I mean? Buggy would be like, hey, Crocodile, could you spot me some dough right now? You know what I mean? Like, if a giant was bearing down on me and I was Buggy, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take out a loan right now. You know what I mean?
Buggy, like, I am hungry.
Exactly. Like, he has to feed them, I imagine, too. Like, he's throwing out concerts and... he's like partying nonstop,
yeah.
You know? So
Buggy needs to get into slavery. Like, he doesn't have to pay these guys, though.
I mean, with the Godfather Shanks theory, who's to say Buggy isn't already there, right? Who's to say? And that was an honorable mention in the chapter, right? Because Crocodile was the one who's like, I might as well, I could sell.
I gotta sell you.
Yeah, and so I'm like, damn, maybe Crocodile knows Shanks too. So, and if you guys don't know,
celestial dragon.
If you guys don't know what that theory, I have a theory, Godfather Shanks, that is making some waves. Stocks are going up and down, but overall, I think we're looking in the green. We got the green for that.
But yeah, after they talk about the debt and everything, Buggy offers his services to Crocodile. His printing services, his mercenaries, and etc. And that's when we get the Cross Guild poster. We get the origin story, the backstory of that piece of paper. And I think it's absolutely hilarious because I thought this was Buggy's idea. Because Buggy's the type of guy that'd be like, hey, like, make me the biggest star, make me, the main focal point. But it turns out he wanted to avoid that at all costs. He did not want to make Crocodile angry. He didn't want to make Mihawk angry. But, going back to your top 5 favorite characters of One Piece, Buggy's subordinates actually put it on there. Like, they love him so much. They made him the poster child.
I need to know this dude's name. This cute, adorable little dumpling ass dude who's just like, I couldn't stop myself from giving you the top billing boss. Like, he's just like dirt, and then
he looks like somebody straight out of like Thriller Bark, bro.
Yeah,
like, a straight up zombie.
And he's just like super chill with it. He's like, yeah. And then we keep going, and then everyone's doubling down. I'm like, all right, like low key, they went a little too far, but I still love them for it, right?
Yeah,
like,
you can't hate these guys.
Yeah, they're. I mean,
they're goated, man.
Yeah, I would love to have a crew like that.
Just a hype squad. But after this, after we get the origins of the posters, we get the bounty reveals. Something absolutely ridiculous.
Very.
And I love the way they describe Buggy. They say he was also a member of the Pirate King's crew. That's how he formed a close bond with one of the Emperor's red-haired Shanks. And you don't dive into the spoilers section of One Piece, but originally, a lot of the spoilers out there said that instead of saying this is how he formed a close bond at red-haired Shanks, this actually said his strength rivals red-haired Shanks. And I went ballistic on this. I said, no way the world government thinks Buggy has strength that rivals red-haired.
See, this is why I don't read the spoilers, but I imagine you got a whole kick out of that.
Dude, I got a kick. I was laughing it up. I was like, no way they're saying Buggy rivals him. But now that TCB is out, it says he formed a close bond with Shanks, but it is like night and day. I'm like, bro, no way. Come on.
Could you imagine Buggy actually being that strong? I mean, clearly, I'm glad reality did hit us with this chapter, but imagine a fever dream One Piece where Buggy is clashing with Shanks. They split the sky, and Luffy is just like big-eyed, like, oh my God, Buggy was memeing this whole time, right? Like...
I saw a couple of really cool, like, if you really dive into like the YouTube, TikTok side of One Piece, there's a lot of them where like Buggy activates his fruit or awakens his fruit, and he actually like Bada no Mi's a bunch of other characters, like big characters in the verse, and it's hilarious.
I've seen some of that. Jesus Burgess, I think.
Yeah, Burgess gets like destroyed by it. Yeah, Blackbeard and Akainu like, oh no, is that Buggy?
I've seen that where it's like the zoom in, like it's like far away, but it has that effect where it zooms in Buggy, and Buggy's like, what you say, or something like that, and then that was fun. And I mean, that goes to the Buggy rain god theory that I got, where it's like, I think that Buggy might actually be able to do that to people. If not people, like,
I think he could too, if he awakens.
I mean, this is a challenge for your community too. Someone explain to me how Shiki got the steering wheel in his head, because the point of my video is that the only person there with a power that would be, the narrator called it an accident, would be Buggy. Because if Buggy didn't understand his powers and he accidentally did that, that would make sense. You wouldn't, if Roger did it, if Rayleigh did it, if Scopper Gabon did it, it wouldn't be an accident because they were in the middle of a war, right? So the only options are gag situations that would be called an accident, and this, I mean, Buggy's all gag, right? So I mean, he was even gagging in this chapter, like actually gagging, so so he's full of it for real.
So Buggy, they're hyping him up, but before we get Buggy's actual bounty, we get Crocodile with a brand new poster and a stupid high bounty of 1.965 billion. And I love this. I love that Crocodile's getting the glow up, and I honestly do feel like he will get a huge power glow up as well.
He should. He's one of the antagonists that Oda came out, right? Oda did come out and say that like Enel and Crocodile should have been stronger. It was just like the story, right? But the question here, and we talked about how the bounties don't really mean that much, but like this is a billion over Zoro essentially, right?
So like, that's huge.
That that is a gap. That is you add Zoro and Sanji and you get Crocodile, which is like,
Barely.
huh? Is that what we're saying here? That's kind of wild. And what was interesting was because the setup Oda gave us at the beginning, where it was like, ascending order bounties. I was thinking that was gonna happen here, and then so very quickly you see Crocodile, and then you see Mihawk, and I was like, no way, Buggy's more than that.
I got 4 billion or something, rivaling that of red-haired Shanks.
Yo, I mean, I like the way the things ended up, right? But like,
oh yeah,
with this bounty, do you think Zoro can't beat Crocodile?
That's a hard one, because if you were to ask me this before the bounty and etc., I'd say, well, Zoro could win. Zoro has Haki, he could definitely slice Crocodile. But now with the bounty, although bounty doesn't equal strength, and we can assume though that Crocodile most likely did get a power boost.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Otis stated that he wanted Crocodile and Enel to be a lot stronger than they actually were. So taking all of that into consideration, I honestly feel like Crocodile, while not being like overly, overpowering Zoro to where it's no diff, I feel like if him and Zoro were to fight, either way, it probably would be extreme diff. Zoro could squeak out the win, but it would take a lot of effort. Like, I feel like Crocodile did get a really big glow up. And I saw a lot of memes online too of like, how Crocodile, he sees a lot of big characters like Whitebeard, Doflamingo, and etc. Douglas Bullet, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you. And they're all like, oh my god, it's Whitebeard, or it's Crocodile. It's Crocodile. Yeah. And then he sees Luffy back in Alabasta, and Crocodile's like, well, I'm wet. I can't do anything.
Yeah. It's so weird to give a man like the bounty for his mighty Logia. His weakness is wet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, 2 billion man, weak to wet. Like, not even like it's wet. Like, it doesn't even matter what liquid it is. It's wetness.
It could be like, Charlotte Opera's like cream fruit. It could be Charlotte Opera, bro, and Crocodile would be a miss.
I thought we got this out off the stream. You had to bring it up.
So hey, to anybody who's still watching right now, me and Par had like a 3-hour discussion about Charlotte Opera and the effects of his cream fruit if it awakened. And let me tell you, it got some crazy places, but
it got heated. That was some
it got heated.
Cream.
Yeah, I've never seen Par or myself yell as much as we did during that discussion.
For sure. This is on your channel. The community on your side be like, damn, Par crazy.
Par is wicked, bro. So after Crocodile, we get Mihawk, which I think the wording of this will be very interesting in the Viz translation.
Yes.
But it says his fellow warlord, Hawkeye Mihawk, has even greater sword skills than the red-haired emperor. And it's like, okay, if Oda wanted to say that Mihawk was stronger than Shanks, he would have just straight out said it. He would have said Mihawk, who's even stronger than the Emperor red-haired. But no, he specified and said sword skills. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so Mihawk is a better swordsman than Shanks, but does Shanks potentially win in different aspects, whether it be hockey or something else? I don't know. Maybe Shanks throws a strong right hook. I don't know. So it's interesting that they word like this.
His one arm,
his left arm, a strong left hook. I'm sorry. Who knows? Maybe Shanks just straight up kicks Mihawk. I have no idea. It's interesting. I think it's very intricate, or I mean not intricate, well thought out wording. Oda knows what he's doing by saying sword skills specifically.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for the Viz transition. I marked this down too, but my initial take was that the power scalers are going to go nuts on this. People are going to try and make this out to make Shanks more of a fraud because Mihawk is stronger, but Mihawk, people are like, oh, Vista is stronger than Mihawk, or like Odin is stronger than Mihawk. And like, what's the value on the sword skills, right? But this is in the manga, right? Sword skills greater than red hair, but doesn't mean he can win. And to me, it's like that's where the power theories that I have, elemental hockey, the Conquerors hockey, observation hockey, that's where this window makes sense, right? If like we can't just keep getting straight up clashes. There has to be another angle to these fights. There has to be a greater variable involved that differentiates here, right? That doesn't mean Mihawk doesn't have those things, but it would just imply that, you know, whatever that is that Shanks has, whether it's elemental hockey or just pure hockey out the wazoo, right, like we saw in 1055, I think there is going to be like a power structure around that puts that gap between Mihawk and Shanks.
There's layers there. It's like an onion.
Yeah. That's how I would explain it. It caught me off guard when you said maybe Shanks has a clean right hook.
Sorry. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, I mean, we don't know how Shanks 1,000% fights, and same with Mihawk, even, right?
Yeah, like, I'm surprised the games gave him guns before using fists, right? Because in the games they don't even have him punching people.
No, he was just using everything he had, throwing kicks, throwing sword slashes. It was just wicked. Yeah,
he was basically like Zeus, essentially.
But the one thing I am glad about with the revelation that his sword skills are greater than red-haired Shanks, I'm finally glad that they say that, though, because I'm like, all the fraud Mihawk things are gone, right? Like, nobody's really doubting Mihawk's strength. Hopefully. There were people beforehand. Okay, I'm gonna say it right here. Do you think if Mihawk was put in Zoro's position on the rooftop, do you think Mihawk could have scarred Kaido?
Yeah.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
There are, believe it or not, Par, people exist in this corporeal dimension with me and you. And read 1,058 chapters of One Piece and genuinely believe that if Mihawk was up there on the rooftop, that he could not scar Kaido.
That's just it doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, again, this is the way the story is, where it's like, if we haven't seen the person fight yet and they're core to the story, meaning we're going to see them, it's not like a fodder character we're not going to see. No, if it's Mihawk, right, and he trained Zoro, right, that means that whatever is in Mihawk's pocket is insane. It's a huge like power thing, right? And it's gonna have Kaido shaking. And why did Kaido not mention Mihawk? Well, he probably never fought Mihawk. He was on Wano for 20 years. Why Mihawk didn't go to Wano? He's sailing around the East Blue fighting Zoro, apparently, right?
Don Krieg.
And chilling with baboons. Like, you know, like, I mean, Kaido's a big baboon, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that narrative of like, oh, Kaido didn't mention him as one of the greats. It's like, well, like, I mean, world is huge.
He didn't mention Imu-sama. Like, I mean, like, how are we supposed to take that?
Yeah, like, and, you know, he didn't bring up Rayleigh. I mean, what are we saying about Rayleigh? Rayleigh's hella strong. Like,
like Akainu, Aokiji, like, where are those dudes? Like, that's just how it is. And I feel like Kaido kind of threw a wrench in a lot of that. Like, he's just kind of like a weird sub factor of, oh, if Kaido wants to die, why does he mention Mihawk? Why does he mention Akainu? It's like, well, I mean, how in depth is Kaido in on suicide at this point, right?
Yeah,
like, if he really wanted to, I feel like Kaido could have died.
Yeah, it's like he wanted to. It's what it felt like, and I haven't put this analysis out yet. But when you think about, you know, he praised Whitebeard, he praised Roger, and it's kind of like, is he in his twisted mind? Is he like, is it because they died for a cause that they're great, and so Kaido would only want to die for a cause that he believes in, and he doesn't believe in much, but like, you know, he has his agenda. So if he dies to push his agenda, then it's a meaningful death. I that's what I'm kind of like understanding now. Rather than just flat out like, why didn't he just drown himself, right? Like, well, you know, some people think the fish fruit would have saved him, but like, you know, I'm sure if he rolled up and fought all the admirals and like, you know, they went 40 days or whatever, maybe they'd probably be able to kill him, right? If all 3 admirals were there, if all 5 of the total admirals, I'm sure they'd be able to kill Kaido, right? That just doesn't make sense to say that they wouldn't be able to, right? If Kaido let them, especially. So it's weird how people take these narrative things, but I guarantee you though, we leave this thing, I'll go on TikTok and there's people and be like, Mihawk is a fraud, Shanks is even more of a fraud. Gosh. And it's like, it's in words now. 3.6 billion bounty. Mihawk is not a fraud.
And here's the thing too, like, if Zoro could cut Kaido, And if Mihawk is the end game for Zoro, then everything Zoro can do, Mihawk can probably do like 5 times better.
Yeah, I mean,
like that's just how it is.
Endgame
that
Zoro,
is the narrative.
Endgame Zoro ZKK, yeah, makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Mihawk MKK. Mihawk kills Kaido.
Yeah, imagine Kaido comes back. Imagine Kaido comes back to the war.
Oh, don't say this. I already know where you're going.
Mihawk just goes whoosh, and then just gets completely fodderized.
Yeah, Kaido's actually, that's where he dies. And then we get a little flash. We get Kaido's actual flashback right there. He's like, oh my goodness. But
that'd be so disrespectful.
After the Mihawk stuff, we get Buggy and 3.189 billion. And they say the world government considers him an extremely dangerous individual, which makes sense, right? Like the pedigree's there. He's an unknown factor. Nobody really knows his motives. He's not after the One Piece to our knowledge. He's just kind of existing, quote unquote, hunting Marines. This is his organization.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the bounty I really like. I love that it's over to Luffy because it just makes it more ludicrous, right? Because we know the real story. We know Buggy doesn't deserve that bounty. But at the same time, it's like, well, he has it. He has the bounty. The world government actually sees him as a threat. And I don't know. Well, how do you feel about it?
I'm curious to know if these numbers have meaning behind them, like the Sanji Zoro thing. But
yeah,
I do agree. I think it wouldn't make sense to have him lower than Luffy, especially having now that we know Mihawk's bounty is what it is. It like if their understanding is that this Mihawk is underneath Buggy, it wouldn't make sense for Buggy to be below, right? Like, yeah, Mihawk is terrifyingly strong. From our understanding. But what's more interesting to me is, I was really glad that this bounty was lower than Mihawk's. I was really glad about that. That gives some substance to these bounties, some meaning. But where I'm a little bit lost is, there was a few theories or comments essentially, or ideas where essentially after we get the bounties, we get a Blackbeard chapter. And so Blackbeard is the Yonko who is at like 2-something billion, and he's scarier than everybody here, I think. And
for sure.
So like, is Blackbeard's bounty staying the same, or is it going to be Luffy, Buggy, Blackbeard, and then Shanks, or is Blackbeard above Shanks? I personally want Blackbeard to be a lot higher. Like at this point, if he were to come out and have like 4.5 billion, I'd be like, I'm all for it. I love it. Right. Yeah. But at the same time, I mentioned this in the stream too, but Blackbeard so far hasn't been known to, at least we don't know that he's done anything huge in the world. The revolutionaries are still where they are. Buggy and his crew are still where they are. The Straw Hats are still chilling. We know the Yonkos, even Shanks, they're still chilling. So what could have Blackbeard done from post time skip reveal to now that we haven't heard about that would put him over 3 or 4 billion? Like, we just don't know. Yeah. And there's not really any other pirates all the admirals to our knowledge are still standing. So like Blackbeard, what did he do to actually give him a huge bounty increase into the 3 and 4 billions? It is my real problem. Yeah, there is that window though where after Reverie he said like, let me take in. So it might be a world where 1059 talks about Blackbeard and what he did, and then we get the bounty from him. And that's where when I saw Buggy's bounty, again, surface level, I agree, cool numbers, but I'm interested in where Oda puts Blackbeard now. Yeah, and the thing is, there, because of the way he's staggered the numbers, Luffy and Buggy are kind of close. They're kind of close, and that leaves a larger gap between Buggy and Shanks. So he could put Blackbeard like just under Shanks. But the other interesting thing we talked about earlier is like, if you're like attacking the world government, if you're doing something like that will increase your bounties. So now that Blackbeard said like, why would I let the Navy reap the rewards when I stand to gain from this? That isn't a direct line that shows us that he might do something acting directly against the world government, rather than using them as a part of as a part of his machine. Essentially, this time it might be directly against them, and that might boost him above Shanks. But what's very interesting with that is like, Shanks was given like a 1 billion bounty pre-story, the story, right?
pre-story.
And I don't have you watched the newest episodes, like episode 1029? Okay, yeah. And so then in that, like, we don't know about Elgia, but like apparently Shanks did some crazy ass thing, and then I guess we get an understanding that he becomes a Yonko 6 years later, and I guess the Yonko bounty is the 4.4 billion or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Shanks went from 1 bill to 4 bills, 7 years. He did all that at that time, and he still didn't get that bounty. So then it's like, what does Blackbeard have to do to reach that bounty? What did Shanks do to get that bounty? It's so, as much as we said earlier, the bounties don't matter, they do sort of matter to like the events, right? Now we know that like Shanks probably did something to get to that level, and Blackbeard has to do something, and it's what he just did. So we might get that in the next chapter. Now it's the question is how that'll frame like what the world government like cares about, I guess, right? Because if he does something big and then it's below Shanks, then we're like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal, right? But if he does something and it's a higher than Shanks, then we get a good like idea of what the world government cares about, what they care most about, at least. Right, so that's where my mind went with this.
I think something cool that could come out of this is Blackbeard. Since we do know that he hunts devil fruits, imagine he starts hunting marine devil fruits too. Like he's like, all right, let's lean heavily on the Marines and the world government. Let's reap the rewards of Buggy's Cross Guild while at the same time getting devil fruits. That's a win-win. That is a good business model.
I mean, with one thing, if he taught, it'd be really cool. I've always, it's funny, but like, there's that one Marine guy who can turn into balls, and I'm like, he would have been perfect for Buggy's crew.
The berry fruit.
Yeah, or Buggy's fruit himself. Like, imagine he could have 2 devil fruits. One is the chop, one is the ball, and he's just
gosh,
he's just this complete menace.
The Buggy ball is coming into play.
Yeah.
So after we get Buggy's bounty, we go back to present day, and Mihawk actually comes up with a pretty good idea of saying, hey, I have no interest in being a Yonko, so let's just have Buggy be our namesake in my place.
Yeah.
And the crocodile agrees, and this is when Buggy kind of announces to everybody that, hey, like, these are our new executives. We have Crocodile and Mihawk. And now I'm just kind of curious, like, what is Mihawk and Crocodile after? Why did they form Cross Guild? Is it just so that they can live a peaceful life and not worry about Marines? Or do you think they have like a huge motive behind it, something against the world government or etc.? Because as things stand right now, the way the story is structured, if Cross Guild is actually just a group that hunts Marines, there's no real reason for Mihawk and Crocodile or even Buggy to enter in or intertwine with the Straw Hat story. Unless, they start going after admirals. So I feel like whatever narrative they have planned, or Oda has planned for them, will lead them to the final stages of One Piece, whether it be Marie Joie or the final war, etc.
Yeah.
What is your take on it?
What's interesting here is, one thing, right? Going back to the whole Mihawk side of things, I think you're right on Mihawk's side. I think Mihawk is just like, yo, this is essentially just like my apartment I got evicted. Essentially, I just need to find a new chill place. I don't think he cares one way or the other. He's, I don't think he has a larger agenda unless Shanks is involved. If Shanks is involved, that we might learn more about like a greater, purpose that Mihawk has. But Crocodile, on the other end, he seems like the man behind the steering wheel, the driving force, like of the direction where Buggy might go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one who asked Mihawk to like, yo, we should team up. And then I'm assuming he knew about Mihawk being a marine hunter, and then we get this whole like, the marine bounty system now. And then, he's the one who is about to take out Buggy, but then Mihawk's like, yeah, and then he's like, yeah, this works, right? And so I think if we put it in perspective of Crocodile, we get an understanding of how this intertwines with the story, because Crocodile was introduced to us for Pluton. And Pluton is something that we just kind of discarded, but the ancient weapons are a huge focus moving forward. So if Crocodile maintains that forward perspective of ancient weapons and ties with the black market, because was it Stampede, he just showed up and he's just like, oh, like I got intel that they have something about like there's like laugh tail or something. Like he
Yeah.
knew about the log pose essentially
Yeah.
beforehand. So one way or another, Oda's setting him up to be privy to all of this knowledge, and this knowledge is something I'm going to talk about in a future video. Where it's like, how did Crocodile even find out about Pluton without the poneglyphs, without being able to read the poneglyphs? Where did he get that knowledge? If it's not from Wano, it's not from Arabasta. Where did he get Pluton knowledge?
Funny enough, Crocodile is like, even though we see him nowadays like kind of hang out with Buggy and Mihawk and etc. Yeah. Crocodile is a relic from the old age. He knew everybody back in their primes. He knew Whitebeard and, you know, Douglas Bullet and etc. So yeah. I feel like because he was in that golden age of piracy, he might just know this information secondhand, right?
But like, it's one thing to like know of, right? Like I wouldn't even know if Mihawk would know about the ancient weapons. That's how like intricate this detail is, right? Like the CP0 barely knows about. CP0 no, but the CP9 they kind of like hear stuff and they don't know the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Versus like Crocodile seems to have like this knowledge, this access to this knowledge source that just doesn't make sense from what we know so far, right? Even, and this is the non-canon part, but the Stampede situation, it's like, how did he know about that? Nobody knew what the prize was and how valuable it was until the end. I don't think most people even knew that there was like a prize thing happening. It was like Law
until the competition happened. Yeah.
Law and Crocodile knew and understood, and Law was like beat up, and it was just like, you know, we all have to escape or something, get out of here, blah blah. It was Law, and then Law was like infiltrating, and then Crocodile knew. And I know that's not canon, but Oda did write that. Oda wrote that himself, and obviously Cross Guild is, you know, that was probably the last like major, you know, showing Oda had with Crocodile, right? In the last, while we were in Wano, we never got a huge thing about Crocodile.
No.
So that was the last time Oda actually touched Crocodile in terms of One Piece. And then the next thing we get is Cross Guild. So I would imagine that holds some relevance here with what happens next. I think if Ancient Weapons continues to be like relevant, then that's the perfect line for where Crocodile comes in. And that would also line up with Buggy too. Buggy cares about weapons, I would imagine. He might even know. He probably knows about them, right? Why doesn't, you know what I think about? Crocodile could probably just ask Buggy what Pluton is, and Buggy was there the whole trip pretty much.
He could even just be like, hey Buggy, I mean, like, it's a question that we, the audience, ask, but like, hey Buggy, what was that giant egg on Roger's ship? Like, what was that thing? Was that Uranus?
Yeah, there's so many things, and I'm curious now. Like, you know, you said Crocodile he was there at Roger's execution. He was in the old era, and all three of them were. And I want to know their backstory, because in Marineford it almost seemed like they already knew each other well, way more. It was like if Luffy fought Law or Kid. It almost felt like that, you know. When you think about it like that, I didn't even realize this. Is this like the counter to Law, Kid, and Luffy? Mihawk.
Oh, that'd be really cool, right?
Yeah, low key.
3v3.
Personality wise, it doesn't match up, but like,
no,
you know, character wise, it could. It's
like not Crocodile. Kid could fight Mihawk by stealing his sword with his fruit. We could have Law bringing Crocodile back to Crocomom, and then we could have Luffy versus Buggy.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, the run back.
Good matchups.
Yeah, exactly.
So after that segment with Cross Guild, which is really sad, I'm sad to see it end.
Yeah.
We go to Kamabaka Queendom, should I say, and we have the revolutionaries all stationed here. And, you know, we have all of the commanders here except for Sabo, which I'm just like, bro, like, how did they not see what happened with Sabo and King Cobra? Like, did they split up? Did Fuji Toda... Wait, did Green Bull actually do something big here? Did he take out 4 of these guys by himself and then Sabo was split off? He was just that strong?
Yes, he took them out and treated them to such kindness and hospitality that they have no injuries and they're just chilling.
No. Hey. Ivankov's treatments brought them back to life. Green Bull almost killed them. That's the headcanon we're going with here.
Yeah,
but with that being said, we see all of them here, and they're like, hey, Sabo's probably fine. But Dragon says, hey, I'm glad he's okay, but if he truly did murder King Cobra, I won't forgive him no matter what his reasons were. Dragon is pretty serious about this.
Yes.
And as a revolutionary, it's like, bro, did Dragon maybe have a relationship with King Cobra, or did he just see that as like not a truly revolutionary act? Like King Cobra was actually on their good side because he was a benevolent king, right?
Yeah. I mean, so in our knowledge of the history, the face of his kingdom was disheveled under his rules. So without knowing the knowledge of it, because he sanctioned Crocodile because of his relationship to the world government, because he's a warlord, so he's like, I could trust a warlord, right? But Crocodile abused him and he made him out to be the villain. And so maybe the revolutionaries hear that and they want to take him over. I remember I collabed with Preach, and in that stream we talked about the idea that maybe Crocodile was sent to Arabasta as a revolutionary to usurp the nation using his own means, and that's his relation to Ivankov. And we go into a huge tangent about that, and it was a really interesting thing. And I don't even think that this breaks this necessarily. Like this, no. I don't think there's a situation here that breaks that. But earlier on, when I was like, theory crafting about the Sabo thing, this is the primary thing that I was saying, was that Sabo, I didn't predict the specifically it was in the realm of possibilities, yes, but I couldn't nail it down. I was saying that Sabo would be framed for a crime that was so upsetting to Makino and Dadan that it would have garnered even worse of a reaction than him just being dead. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people thought he was dead based off the reactions. And it's like, well, no, they just found out he would be alive, so they'd be shocked. But if he did like a criminal act that changed their perspective of him, that would explain this, right? And killing a just leader, if that's what we're holding King Cobra to be, because he was the one who abolished, him and Riku were the one who abolished the what's it called?
Shishibukai.
Yes. And so the revolutionaries would be like, that's a great thing, right? I would imagine there's no reason to kill King Cobra. And so what I took this as is, if Sabo got framed for a crime, Dragon would be upset, very upset, because they didn't align up with the revolutionaries. Now the question is, what did Sabo actually do? I think he was framed, and this is a whole thing where Dragon is, I think, for the first time showing us like more of his true colors, right? Like what is his agenda? And it seems like he has a just agenda. He doesn't want people to die. Meaninglessly, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. And now I'm more curious how people take this, because people regard Sabo in like the top 20 of like strength, right? Various people put him 10, lower, top 30s, whatever, and they think that Dragon is a fraud. But like, Dragon looks hella serious. He looks scary. Oh yeah. I think Dragon could just not manhandle Sabo, but Sabo comes here and he's like, I did kill Cobra. Dragon would spank his ass, I feel. Like he would give him a whooping,
I honestly think Dragon's top 10, whereas Sabo isn't.
Yeah.
And that might be a hard take, but I really do think Dragon is just really strong. We just have not seen it yet.
Oh yeah.
That's the curse of One Piece, right? Like, people call Mihawk a fraud, but that's because we haven't seen anything yet. Like, we haven't seen him really fight all out. And that's just the curse of One Piece. We're not there yet.
I think Dragon's top 5. I think he's going to be.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like certain characters in my top 5 or top 10, but it just feels like he's gonna be the pinnacle of power.
I mean, his lineage is busted, right? Luffy, Garp, like, come on. If Dragon is a fraud, I would be shocked.
Yeah, and the thing is, people are saying Garp is a fraud, right? Like, some people think that current Zoro is stronger than Garp, and I'm like, that doesn't even prime Garp, and I'm like, let's stop.
Current Garp. That we could argue that one, but as far as prime Garp, a man who was like up there with Roger, like, come on.
I've heard some things.
Zoro end of story. Good. We could argue that too, but current Zoro, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So. And in that regard, right? Garp, Luffy, Dragon, they're gonna be the pinnacle of power. There's no doubt in my mind. And I'll be. Maybe people fight me on this, but I honestly think end of series, it's going to end up where if Luffy, Dragon, then Garp, even Prime Garp. That's how strong
Really?
I think. That's how strong I think end game Luffy's gonna be. And we have not seen Dragon, but I imagine by the end of the series, Luffy's gonna surpass him, and also Garp too. And that
I could see that. Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how far Oda takes this, though.
So with Dragon in the conversation here, we have Dragon asking Kuma to tell him what he saw at Marijois with the Celestial Dragons, etc. And I cannot imagine Kuma actually giving Dragon any useful piece of information other than, by the way, St. Charles liked a lot of slaves. Like what is Kuma gonna say? The only relevant information might be Vegapunk, but I don't know. Like, would Kuma say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Imu-sama did this," or "Imu-sama exists"? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're more
curious.
going off of the last panel. Dragon's trying to ascertain what Sabo did, and so since Kuma was freed by Sabo,
nice.
he just wants to get a replay essentially of that. Now,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't know if he'll be able to get stuff out of here, because it's like, I'm yours to command, master. And it's like, how do you deal with someone who is like, I think Kuma would be regarded as the second command back in the day if we weren't given an amazing portrayal of it, but Kuma's a monster through and through. And this is funny because someone asked me on Mordor stream a Kuma question, and we were trying to hold it down to 6 words, and my words were, I don't care, like, about the person's question. I don't care. I want Kuma. And then we got him in this chapter. I had honestly, seeing Kuma, I almost cried on stream just by seeing him, because I miss Kuma. Kuma is like the coolest character in all of One Piece, in my opinion.
I really wish Kuma stayed as a Celestial Dragon slave, though.
I
don't think he should have been freed. How is St. Charlos gonna get healed up now? Like, who's gonna tend to him? Kuma should have stayed by his side, and he is a untrustworthy dog.
But to your point, right? I would agree. Like, how are we viewing the revolutionaries, and they're like relatively like there's no damage, there's no worries, there's no like Zoro and Luffy were in bandages 7 days after, right? Like but Kuma was disheveled as a slave, and he's here in pristine condition.
You're right.
And it's a little like, that was off-putting to me. I'm like, what are we supposed to understand from this?
I mean, I don't want to call Ivankov the doctor of the revolutionaries, but they have so many people with them that their medical supplies and etc. should be pretty decent.
But how does that work on Kuma? He's a robot.
Hey, just give him new clothes. He's fine.
Yeah, we just buff out the scratches real quick.
Yeah, buff out the scratches. Kuma's okay. Don't worry about him. He doesn't have emotions, Par.
Yeah, I mean, so, and this situation is very interesting because this possibly knocks out the Kuma slapping Vivi to the next island kind of.
Yeah, that's gone.
I don't know if that makes the most sense, because he was with the revolutionaries that escaped, so they would know, and they just don't know, and we get that clarified even more so with this Denden Mushi, which I really liked your synthesis of this last part.
Yeah, so the last part of the chapter, we have Marine HQ picking up a call to Kamabaka Queendom. I change the name every single time. Kamabaka Queendom. Yeah. And they say, hey, listen and record. It could be Entei. It could be the Flame Lord or Flame Emperor. And then Koala picks up the phone, and the first thing we get is, it's me, Sabo. But I am super sus. I do not think this is actually Sabo. And the reason why is because we end with a shot of the Denden Mushi saying this. It's not Sabo in a different panel, bloodied up or covered up or anything saying this. It's Denden Mushi. It's just a voice.
Right.
And I'm really sus about this because nobody knows what happened to him. And the fact that Sabo, being a revolutionary that's been on the run for many, many years, should be privy to knowledge about how Denden Mushi's work, and that, he's easily going to get wiretapped if he uses a Denden Mushi and calls the headquarters. So if that is the case, then it's like, wait, is this actually Sabo, or could this potentially be the Blackbeard Pirates? And you mentioned it too, that after every bounty reveal, we generally get a Blackbeard chapter. And we know that Blackbeard, from the last time we saw him, or I guess, previous time we saw him, he was destroying Baltigo off screen. He was actively going after the revolutionaries. So if this was somebody like Katrina Devon who can mimic other people's voices and appearances, then that would make a lot of sense. I could see next chapter easily being the first half of it, like this conversation, and then at the very end, Koala hangs up and she's like, okay, time to go meet Sabo, time to go pick him up, or etc. And then after that, we see the Blackbeard pirate saying, all right, let's go meet up the revolutionaries. Time to finish them off for good.
Yeah, I really like that.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I might go as far as say, 1059 is looking like a Blackbeard chapter through and through. So many different reasons why, from bounties, from characters, but the Katarina Devon take, like, you're right, Baltigo, they went there, they stormed it. Who's to say they didn't grab a Denden Mushi that was left behind, and that's how they contacted him here? You know what I mean? Like, it makes so much sense. And then on top of that, this is a very interesting viewing of the Denden Mushi, where Denden Mushis they're supposed to show us the mimicry of the person they're talking to, and Oda very clearly cut off the eyes, which is usually where we'd see stuff, and then cut off like anywhere else, right? And it's very like, it's me, Sabo, and it's like, really, is it Sabo? Because
who would say that?
Yeah, why would he say that? And then to your point even more, it's like the Marines don't know where he is, the world government doesn't know where he is, his own allies don't know where he is, and it's like, why would he break silence? Just be like, hey guys, it's me. You know what I mean? Like, that's so goofy.
You would literally think that if it was Sabo, he would just go to Kamabaka Queendom. Like why would he call in?
Yeah, like, and he could fly. I don't know if the Mara it should be able to let him fly, but we've seen him taking Karasu's things and flying. But like, at the end of the day, he could get any raft and just fucking blast his way anywhere he wants.
Where it is.
Yeah, like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is like, once you said that, I'm 110% agree. You could be wrong and I still agree. Like, we could find out that this is wrong, but like, even more to support it, we're gonna break week. This is so Oda's gonna want us to be wondering, is this Sabo, is this not Sabo? He's gonna want us thinking about this for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I really like this Blackbeard idea. Now the question is, what's the agenda though, right? Is it to target the revolutionaries, or is it because the revolutionaries have something that Blackbeard has, right? Because at this point, it's like, why would he even care? You know what I mean?
I think it's on the latter. Like, I think the revolutionaries actually have something that Blackbeard needs, whether it be a road poneglyph or etc. I feel like the revolutionaries have something of interest to Blackbeard, or devil fruits.
Yeah,
like,
that's
true. I mean, hey, the rally fruit is huge.
Yeah, that is true. The Bello Betty's, Karasu's. Oh, Karasu. Actually, now that I think about it, you pointed this out. They drew him like he's fodder. Like, everyone else got so much detail. He looks like a fucking belly button, bro. And then,
dude, Karasu looking bad.
His fruit with Moria's fruit and Blackbeard's fruit, that's a crazy combination. We don't know what his fruit is, but that could be kind of strong. Now
the crow fruit.
Yeah, and I, like, in my previous stream, I think it's Voice of All Things, episode 3, I believe, we talked about the idea that Karasu might have a mythical Zoan fruit. That might be the way because he has like the crows, but a Zoan fruit doesn't let you get multiple crows, and he can put out shadows of crows. So it might be that his Zoan form is the crow thing, but his paramecia like power is shadows, and so he's like,
that'd be nice.
Yeah, so that's what it feels like here. So maybe the Blackbeard comes in and he wants to get all the fruits. That'd be interesting. It's weird though to have the revolutionaries and Blackbeard collide before Luffy gets into the mix, right?
Yeah.
Because
I feel like it could be a skirmish and then they're escaping. I have no idea. Like, this is the final saga. Like, we're gonna see these matchups relatively soon. It's no longer like, oh, let's wait till post time skip, let's wait till we get to Elbaf. It's like, dude, it's at our doorstep. Like, anything is possible.
Yeah, these next few chapters, I mean, I think this is a good good chapter to come off of after 1057. There's so many different things we could have touched, but I think one of the major ones was bounties, right? And I think this one hit a lot of notes, and it segues us to a very natural chapter where I think, like, maybe I'm going to listen to a few more conversations, but both of us naturally gravitating towards Blackbeard being the next focus of the next chapter. And what's interesting, we talked about it earlier, Caribou, being possibly stowed away. This chapter, it focused on the Straw Hats, but more so on the news and the bounties and the world, like, what the Marines were putting out onto the world, essentially, right? So Caribou could still be there, and then we could get a 10th Titanic captain. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but Blackbeard being next is really, really cool. Is really cool.
I think we're gonna get 3 things next chapter. We're gonna get the Straw Hats in their next island, and possibly Caribou and Carrot. We're gonna get the Revolutionaries in Sabo, or Blackbeard, whichever one correlates. And then the last thing we're gonna get, I think the one person missing that we really need now, is probably the situation with Boa, Hancock, and Kobe.
Ooh,
I feel like that's been missing for such a while, and since we've gotten the former warlords here, I feel like we really do need either Boa or at least Weevil. I feel like we'll tackle the other warlords next chapter.
Yeah, now I want to wait because maybe we could talk about the Boa thing next time. But the portrayal of the Marines in this chapter, how they're just like slaughtering themselves against Mihawk. Now I feel like Boa is probably doing the same thing. Like, her whole entire island is stronger than most of the people at Marineford, right? Like, those people are crazy strong, right?
Pain. Yeah. So I want the Marines to take a W, man. They're just getting L's left and right.
And with that in mind, that would mean that the only person of substance sent to a warlord was Kobe to Boa, which is interesting. Damn, they disrespecting everybody except for Boa, I guess. Damn. Wait, do we know Boa's? We do know Boa's. We don't. We don't know.
We know her, like, her frozen bounty, right?
Oh, we don't have like a reinstated one.
No, I think reinstated. Dude, imagine it being super high. I could imagine her bounty being like, honestly, even above Crocodile.
What about above Buggy?
I don't think it's gonna be a.
I think it would be nice. Empress. She is an emperor.
I think it would be nice if it was above Buggy, but I'm trying to tame my expectations.
Yeah,
I'd be happy if it was in 3 billion though.
Yeah, it's probably below Luffy's. That would make more sense, right? Which is crazy because, like, what was her bounty before? Was Luffy always higher bounty than her? I guess so, like, because it was frozen. Damn, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, now that you brought it up, now I want to see a Boa chapter.
Oh, man.
And in that regard,
bounty was 80 million.
80 million? Damn, yeah. So they froze it early.
Yeah.
Her back, I mean, it makes sense given her backstory, but I talk about this a lot, and we talked about this here. We have to start connecting these dots. So if we're saying Blackbeard is a missing gap and we have to learn about it, and so is the Boa Hancock situation, is there a way that can meld together? I don't think so. Not necessarily. But damn. So which one would you want first? Blackbeard chapter or Boa chapter?
I say Blackbeard. I'm interested in the antagonist of One Piece. So I'd say Blackbeard.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think the Boa the Boa situation might get brought up through this perspective of Kobe. So whenever Kobe becomes relevant, which isn't really like high priority at the moment, that's when we get like the lowdown.
I would love a Kobe perspective chapter, and everything's just all blurry. He's all bloodied up, and all of his colleagues are dead, and he's like, Boa? And then Boa's just like killing everybody. That'd be really cool.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad.
No, it's not gonna be like that. But yeah. I can dream. I can dream.
Yeah, we'll leave it to a dream. Damn, that was a good chapter to go.
It is such a good chapter. I mean, coming from last chapter, which was pretty hit or miss, I enjoyed it, but obviously I wanted a lot more from it. Coming into this chapter, it is so refreshing. Like, I love leaving Wano and having all these side events being played out. And it's honestly just a good conversation. I love the conversation of this chapter more so than the past couple.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah.
I think what this chapter will do for the community is remind everybody that Oda, like the outside world, there's a whole world outside of Wano that Oda has developed, and it's beautifully developed, and it's awesome. And so a lot of people are like, worried about it rushing or worried about the quality. I think this is a great example that some things got stale, and I imagine, especially from 1057, there was some like corporate stuff, timeline stuff, something in the mix that kind of like sullied what we wanted to see rather than what we got. And this chapter is like a great palate cleanser for the last saga, in my opinion. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Well, thank you, Par, for coming in. You want to describe the people who you are yet again? I will also give a description. Par is a One Piece YouTuber, believe it or not. He makes really cool theories. You guys should definitely check him out. Especially, imagine watching almost 2 hours of this video and you're like, I don't know, I don't care about Par. You gotta check him out. If you made it here, check him out. He's a cool dude, good theories, and always a great conversation and friend. And with that being said, Par, you want to tell anybody else anything that I didn't describe there?
I think the main thing that you didn't describe, I think at this point most people are sick of me plugging myself in multiple places and on your stream, because now it's multiple times. But what I will say, me and Sai are working on like a sort of system, a schedule to more stream regularly around the chapters. So this is like the more scheduled out iteration of it, where I had my stream, and then I get to experience the spoilers realm. You get to tell me how things went, and like people saying Buggy was rivals with Shanks. So that was definitely fun. And so, thank you, Sai, for inspiring the Par booty call, the Par pillow talk pillow, because that's essentially what we do after the knock up streams on Thursday, where Oda knocks us up with the latest chapter. Is I have after you get knocked up, you have pillow talk. And Sai is the primary guest because we're both night owls and I always have a great time talking to each other. So the last thing I want to say is thank you, Sai, for having me here. And then also, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream or the episode, and excited to see you guys in the chat. And if you guys come and see my theories or videos, make sure you let me know where you guys came from. And so from Sai's channel, tell me the craziest thing you've heard about Sai and in the comment. And see you guys soon.
Make sure to give Par the Charlotte Opera treatment. And with that being said, have a great night, guys. Thank you for coming in.